Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be in the world. Welcome to tradertv.live. We're seeing North American stock futures back in negative territory once again, giving up on early advances after tech stocks led another sell-off yesterday. We had the NASDAQ down more than 2% at the end of the day, while both the S&P and the Dow gave up on early gains to finish slightly lower, 0.6% for the S&P, 0.8% for the Dow. Late in the day, selling came in on cruise operators after the CDC came out and said their November restart date still in effect. So the cruise industry was pushing to get that moved up a little bit, but the CDC reiterated November 1st restart date for cruise operations in the U.S. The latest initial jobs claims data from last week just out. We'll talk about that here coming up in a second. We'll also have a look at energy stocks again. Yeah, that container ship still lodged across the Suez Canal. So I'll show you an interesting picture of that ship. They're talking weeks now before they can get that removed. As we mentioned, the cruise lines getting hit late in the day yesterday. Big tech to the downside today. Negative start to the session. It's Thursday, March 25th, 2021. TraderTV.live starts now. And there we go. Look at North American markets. Yeah, we are back in the red for the S&P at this point. That's still showing 0.2% there. The Dow and the NASDAQ as well, little change. The TSX futures here in Toronto, 0.27%. Brazil's open, down, 1.2%. Bitcoin to the downside today and falling as we speak. Crude oil, 2.3%. You got to remember, it was up 6% on the day yesterday. Little change for gold so far. Going to be an interesting one here, guys. Yeah, it's getting a little exciting already. Futures to the downside. We have a lot of individual names to the downside. Bitcoin to the downside this morning. Oil even to the downside, even with this container ship. I'll show you this in a second, but yeah, this container ship, they're talking weeks now before they get it out of the canal.
Yeah, I made a bit of a mess with that one. So it's interesting. You pick anything, and you're going to find basically everything I can see is to the downside here. Even retracements in those NFT names are going crazy. I'm looking at Tesla getting close to 600. Remember the last time we dipped down here, there was that sharp push down into like 540. So it's one of those weird things. We're kind of saying this. It's felt like at some point you're either going to get one of these, another one of these sort of rollover, 2, 3, maybe even 4% type of days, or you get that sell-off that scares everyone into thinking it's going to be another one of those crazy push downs, and then we actually end up with a reversal, and the shorts at the bottom get burned at least for that day anyway. So I do have that in the back of my mind. I know we're going to be all over some of the oil plays as well. Yesterday, I would say the theme was try not to overtrade. You got to pick your spots. That's why we go over the names that we like. That's why we're going to go over that watch list, because over trading on a day like today, when we expect there to be some big market moves, there'll be a lot to watch. So let's narrow that list down and get to work, Sean.
Remember when we were short Dolphin yesterday at $28, and I mockingly said the next stop was $4. That was just a joke, but today you're at $14. So that's cut in half, and more than half, almost cut in 2/3 from yesterday's big 32.50 spot. There we actually did get some out at 30 on the 31.50 or 31 break, something like that. We did take some out there, and then the tank just happened in a nice little move in the aftermarket, and then today, man, just crushed City. You know what? This is the thing. I came in, okay, NEO's bouncing a little bit. There's a lot of stocks that are at a spot right now. It's unbelievable. I was sort of thinking that there would be a whole bunch of damage here on the imbalance locator this morning, but there's really not. So I'm wondering if this is the bounce back day. I know that I am technically always a bull, but I do try to buy some dips. We did put some Palantir into the account yesterday at 21.80 on the close. I tweeted that out. Got a lot of love for that. What I want to show before we go back to Brendan was, okay, we did have our poll yesterday. It's closed now. Thank you to everybody. If I could find it, where is it? If I can find it, here it is. We did have the poll yesterday, and thank you to everyone that voted. 800 votes. So we'll hit the confetti for that one. And as you can see, I don't know if it's because it's my feed or what right here. But the thing is that I actually didn't put a time frame on here. I should have put in the next 6 months or so because, you know, that to me, that's where we were going with this. But DraftKings, Tesla, Palantir, and Boeing. And yeah, PLTR, Palantir there wins the day with that. For me, I sort of think, you know, I did vote Palantir, of course, but I think Boeing is a sleeper there just because of the fact that we do still have that reopen play. And all of these stocks yesterday, if you voted yesterday, you're probably down 10% now today because of the moves that we've had. All of these basically all growth stocks, and then Boeing, I think, is a little bit of a mix of both there. So congratulations. I'm going to put up another poll soon, but 800 votes is good, and thank you for everybody for voting. And let's look at Palantir today. Like I just said, it's on the way down. Every stock right now on the way down. See if we can test. I mean, NEO almost tested that very bottom as well. The bottom of Palantir lately has been that 2050 wick down here on the daily chart right here. So we could test that. It's been an epic fall. There's basically like 10 green days in the last 30 or so for Palantir. So it's been a nasty one for a lot of these growth stocks. And DraftKings, I'm glad we took a little bit off there. Ahead of 70 or above 70 because now we're back down to 66, and I think that DraftKings also, that's on the list. That's also a buy, I feel. Whoa, $64 today. Yeah, I think we're getting near levels now on DraftKings where we could buy that as well. We are getting close to that 50-period moving average. This is why we did dump some, and we talked about that on the show because look how many tops we had here in the 70s. So we're back down here to 60. I think it's worth buying some back. Get that 10% back into your account.
All right, guys, I talked about the initial jobless claims. Here we go, 684 versus 730 expected. So a little bit better last week for initial jobless claims in the U.S. Down, again, from the expected number there, 730,000. And Marlon, you were asking about High Point Resources. Here you go. Their planned merger with Bonanza Creek Energy remains on track. So, yeah, it was halted, news pending. That was, I guess, the news for HPR there. Again, their planned merger, Bonanza Creek Energy, remains on track. There you go, Marlon. Let's get over to the desk now and say good morning to Miss V.
Good morning, Brandon. And hey, guys, we are so glad to see you join us today. We wish you a great day and make sure to support the community. Click the like button and subscribe to our channel. Let's get it started, Brandon.
Yeah, let's get it started, guys. Lots to dig into here, lots to talk about. I want to show you this picture first off of this cruise ship because they really did a good job on this, getting it right into the side of this canal, the Suez Canal. This is just an enormous cruise ship. There's multiple satellite photos of this across the canal, and it's just enormous. But yeah, they dug it right in there good, guys. They're talking about weeks. This is going to disrupt supply chains right across the entire globe, including energy, oil. There's reports of as many as 10 now oil tankers stuck behind this container ship, not able to get through the canal. So we'll have to keep an eye on energy markets here. Again, it was up. Oil was up 6% yesterday. We are a little negative to start here today.
Down 3.
There were some good longs, and you were trading a little bit of Occidental yesterday's action off of the open. You got that breakout. There was the pullback, the false story that they maybe had that resolved, of course, ended up not being true. And so essentially looking at the same price areas, interestingly enough, on Oxy at least, pulling back into that 25 area that it had for support, and then going right back into, and this is yesterday at the bottom, was bouncing off 26. It was one of the reasons why I was looking at these trades for a couple of days ago, that 26. One of the reasons I was looking at that trade, it made that bottom, was holding a bit of a higher low. We were gapping up and then looking for the breakout. Now the real test is, can it hold 26 even? And if we're going to get potentially a longer duration of, I guess, this block up, and then we're going to get maybe a bounce here in crude. If we can cash that, we hold something like a 26 on an Occidental, and it's going to be a sort of an all systems go type trade. Now, the difference is the breakout was because of the tight, really, really tight range in the pre-market that Oxy had, and that was one of the setups that I really liked, so that's why I went with it. I got a couple of trades on here, guys, and I just got this IMMP. It's a small cap stock. I'll be trading that. Got ENOB. Those are both on the watch list as well, and we're definitely going to get to those. You'll see those pop in and out of our live positions as we go into the pre-market here. But 26 is the big test. If it holds that level, I like this like previous sort of like bottom of a couple sessions ago, and then back on the 18th. If we hold that, I like the 2650 area on Oxy. And once again, we're back into trading some of these energy names after a bit of a hiatus for a few months, Sean.
Yeah, I did want to say a big shout out here because not only was it Marlon, but also CM there. Thank you for the $20 and thank you for the HPR. Shout out to Brendan as well. So thank you, Brendan, for that. I just want to make sure that we got to that because I know Marlon asked, and then CM as well. Thank you. I mean, look, the super chats mean a lot to us, that's for sure, and they help as the show continues to be free and will forever be free as far as I know. 55 here holding on XOM. We'll see if that can hold. Someone mentioned it in the chat here, and I want to talk about it because, oops, it's on the Amex. DRIP, which is an ETF. It's a bear. It's 2 times bear oil ETF. So you do have a monster. I mean, you know, if you think oil's topped out now, then this is what you're going to want to trade here, DRIP. You could see back in October when oil was basically at its, I mean, it was at its lows. This chart can go on forever. It did have a rebalance there, a split. You could see here, let's just go with October, 79.90, the high there back in October. And then this DRIP ETF, as oil continues to go down, remember it's a double bear, right? So as oil goes up, DRIP goes down. So right now, you had that bottom at 10. You don't really look technically sort of at ETFs because they don't trade exactly the same, you know, month over month, quarter over quarter, because they do roll in, you know, with options. That's how you get the 2 times debt option market, things like that. So they lever against, so you can't really look at it. But I'm just thinking that if oil is going to make some moves to the downside, then yeah, DRIP ETF is definitely one to buy. And it's already moved. It's only 38,000 shares, but this is definitely one to have a look at. I haven't really traded it too much, obviously, intraday at all for you guys, or even in my own account. So I don't know a hell of a lot about it, but looking at the daily chart, pretty consistent. Even yesterday with some of that news, you really only had a 30 or so cent spread. And then this is where oil started taking off near the end of the day as the rest of the market went down. Oil started ripping. So 11.50 up to 12.20. So there is, you know, there is possibility here for this ETF. And then today, you know, look at the move, just continues upside. And then here's CL. It's hard to see, but we're down 3.4% and continuing to push lower there. As Brendan shows that picture of the Suez Canal, everybody starts shorting oil. So there you go.
Okay, Sean, maybe you can grab a chart of Bitcoin here because we're accelerating to the downside on BTC, approaching 8% on the day now to the downside. I just brought up this SOS here, down, yeah, better part of 14%. But a lot of these crypto stocks looking a little bit like this morning in the pre-market, guys.
Sure. I mean, yeah, good call here. I mean, just yesterday, I guess March 14th, this is a 15-period moving average. We touched up to 57. You guys, we saw that. Forget about it. Then we talked about it yesterday. And it's funny, we just talked yesterday and a couple, you know, about what Bitcoin was doing. It was bouncing, just like we call this barcoding. Someone on the show said that. And it was just consolidating. And then it just went the other way. That's really all that happened. It could have broke here and gone up. Instead, it breaks here and heads southbound. So right now, holy crap, the bottom 50,450. Let's check out here a quick 1-minute chart. Okay, so a nice bounce there. We did get that number coming through. The GDP number has rallied the market a little bit, and so Bitcoin goes upside. But watch out for 51,000. We talked about it holding 50. It needs to do that. Here's the daily chart for Bitcoin, and this is exactly what we were talking about, 60 to 50. Remember I said it's in, like, you know, the 500 range when you're looking at a minute chart, but I mean, these are all 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, each one of these blocks, 10,000. So you spent a bunch of time between 30, and look at the time spent between 20 to 30, nothing, right? Time spent a lot between 30 and 40, a little bit of time spent on the high side of 40, and then just, it could never get going through 60,000. So, you know, right now we'll test the bottom, and then honestly, guys, we could drop to 45 for sure, and then we'll see. So my call is if we break 50, we go to 45, so watch out for that. And yeah, it's not smooth sailing for anything right now. Tesla, Bitcoin, NEO testing its lows of $35. You know, if you're in anything growth, here goes the NASDAQ. It tried to go and now coming back down. You can't hide anywhere except for, I found one stock you can hide in there, Brendan. Microsoft, I think, is not really doing that badly if you look at a daily chart. Come on, like, you know, you switch to NASDAQ and the chart's got to go with it. Yesterday, it didn't even really crash too much. I mean, considering what did happen in the afternoon, and I was just like, oh my God, this looks real bad. We were sitting here saying, what's going on? Microsoft still goes down to this 235 area. And if you look at a daily chart, look, it's holding up. It's holding up great. So for me today, if you're going to be a bull on anything and you sort of want to preserve a little bit of capital and buy some kind of dip, I think Microsoft is the one that's holding up really, really well in all of this rally. We'll take about some more levels here, but 235.50 could be a breakout to the upside as we've bounced around. Let's see if it holds 234, but wow. This could be another one of those days, guys.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be true. If we're going to come back to Bitcoin for just a quick second here, I just want to note, like Mara, I was looking down, was like 15%. I was looking at Silvergate down 8.5%. And if we do get, we're trying to bounce off 50,000. Let's say we actually get a break, right? Because you want to anticipate things that might actually happen here. And we get even halfway to that like 47.5 on the way to like 45, which is certainly a distinct possibility. I look at this for at least a day trade anyways. If we do crack any lower than this, I guess 116 that we're at right now is lagging a little bit some of the other names that will fall in the space. So anything in front of a 105 seems like an interesting pickup. It's not always the highest volume name, but I find it interesting that it's certainly holding up a little bit better than, and we talked about this, the oversized moves that you get in Riot and Mara to the downside, and they're both down heavier than Silvergate right here. So we are still headed to the southbound side. We're still flushing, guys. It's a small muted bounce, but the overall market basically holding on the low. So you do have that. There was a day like this, and I wish I remembered the exact day, but there was a day that felt exactly like this in the morning. And I don't know if you remember this one, Sean, too. It was sort of the same thing. And then we essentially made a bottom and rallied. And it stays in the back of my mind, even though I'm in some shorts and looking pretty bearish today.
All right, guys, I want to talk about this cruise story that we saw late in the day yesterday come out. The CDC reiterating that their November 1st restart date here, you can see, is still in effect. So the CDC saying no cruising in the U.S. or no cruise operations in the U.S. until November 1st. I just saw these headlines here on Royal as well. So they just priced $1.25 billion senior note offering as well. So here's a RCL down 1.3%. But this is the move we were talking about. NCLH was actually, Norwegian was the worst off. It tumbled about 8% in a straight line. But 88, 87.5 down to 81 here for Royal late in the day yesterday.
Yeah, pick your poison. It's an ugly looking chart for any of those, and it sort of underlined what was actually a fantastic break and showing some strength. It was the same thing in oil, sort of the same chart. It was a very tight consolidation, gap up, breakout. But ultimately that news is gonna hit these like a ton of bricks, which it just did. And we're right into, and I'll go to back to the daily chart for a second here. We're right back into that previous sort of breakout price. You had the December high. Right here at like 24.50. There was a nice push, and this is where it started leveling off, and that was that rejection at $30 that we were talking about for a couple of days on the show. And we're right back into that range. Now, you would think that there could be a little bit of support and consolidation down here, so that's going to be my first look to say, okay, can we hold the line at that 24? What I would love to see, and we talk about the level 2 all the time, what I would love to see is just, like someone plop a big bid down there off of the open and be able to scalp it a couple of times. If it eventually breaks, it's going to be hard not to just take a momentum short through it. So I'm playing off that 24 level, showed you guys why it has a little bit of significance. You got the 50 period there, you have the December high at that same price. If Carnival can't hold that today, it could get really ugly really quick. I'm going to come very quickly over to that IMMP just because I did just get into this one for you guys. Whoops, wrong way. Let's go to the 1 minute chart. There was a little bit of, this was me getting in. I just looked at this cluster here, and this is up because of sympathy for a cancer study for Bristol Myers, and it gapped up, well over 40% to the upside. It then made a push here, and yeah, I went to go grab a coffee and put a stop order in. See these wicks? That's me. Then after that flush down, which I'm not too happy that I missed out on, it consolidated right here at 360. Once I saw that happen, I said, okay, I like that 360 area. I parked an order, it came, I got hit at 61, immediately out for like in front of 50, and then out in front of this 340 level. I still have a little bit left. See if it can't break down in towards this $3 range that it was trading in before, after the 7 o'clock bump and before that ramp to the top. At 8 even, where it's now rejected. So, or at 8 o'clock in the morning where it rejected. So I like this one, and I'm probably going to stick to the short side on every single pop in IMMP. Like I said, it was just a sympathy story. It's on our watch list near the bottom, but in some active trades here, that one, and ENOB is not really moving, so I can get to that one later.
I just wanted to, so I just made a shout out there to Pranav on the chat saying thank you. I mean, again, thank you for the the kind words. He went short on DLPN yesterday on the advice, on my advice, I guess, going short here yesterday, and now it's at 14 and wondering if he should cover. My idea for that would be, yes, hit the bell, cover. And you know what? This is the thing. Like when you're short at 25 and then you have an opportunity to come in one day and cover it at 14, you know, I don't love this space, but the thing about it is, you know, NFTs could get hot again. They could rally. Obviously, we're not going to see. You may not never see 25 again. So my advice would be, if money is some, you know, if you need it, cover. But you know, I would probably cover here. You know, 60, 70%. If you want to get a little more jiggy with it, cover 50% and then try to hold the rest to 8, 9, 10, somewhere around here, I think could be good. Never really hold for the ultimate bottom, but you could fade right back in there, and this could be horrible advice. But I do think that pigs get slaughtered. We talk about that all the time. So if you do have it, I mean, look what happened with Rocket, right? I mean, if you were long Rocket with me, $20, the thing went to $42, and everyone thought it was going to moon there, right? Including myself. So you got to get some out at the top. You hold some if you're wrong, but I think that DLPN, you got to ring the register a little bit when you have that kind of a win after one day. Makes some sense to me. And then put that money into something that's a little bit of value. Put it into a GE today. Put it into one of these banks, something like that today, and let that money work for you and keep your play money in play type of stocks.
All right, guys, let's have a look quickly. Rahim Alani just getting set up here beside me. We'll talk to him in a second about some cannabis names and ideas. But for the time being, let's discuss some upgrades and downgrades for today. Yeah, tech on this side of the board entirely. Maxar, Intel, Cisco, and AMD to the downside today. Viacom, we mentioned yesterday, big offering announced, huge move to the downside, down again today. Via C and Via CA to the downside, guys.
I mean, have you seen, we talked about Viacom earlier. I mean, here's the daily chart for Viacom. Like, I have no idea. I know there was a short aspect to this trade. It was a heavily shorted stock at one point, and those guys, I guess, got taken out, causing this move. But look where we are, man. Yesterday I wrote down on the sticky note 85. Remember, that was this price where we opened up, and then you tank City down to 65 now today, down another 6%. Viacom shareholders in big time trouble. But you do have, I mean, depends where you're long. There is a dividend here, so it's not the end of the world. You do have this 62, you know, clumped up area. Really, the only area of consolidation, other than if we make our move all the way down to 50. So I would look at Viacom. I did see also on that list, Neil. Intel, let's just check out Intel quickly on an upgrade today. Obviously, yesterday they got killed as I was trying to go long on Intel yesterday, and all the way back down into the 60 area. Intel was left for dead until they had a new CEO and some nice talk, obviously from hedge funds and whatnot, activists. But we'll wait to see here what Intel does today. Down 0.31, but at least they caught an upgrade, right?
Yeah, and you know, maybe they bounce off that 50 period. You start to look at some of these names, and like Viacom is just insane. To add to that 62, that 62 area you talked about, I mean, worth going back to like the January spike, and that's going to be the high right here at just underneath 61. So maybe if it gets down, maybe it just pushes a little bit further, it extends down into that 61, 62. It could find itself some support. But I noticed Cisco on that list there, and up 2%. So there is something. Here's Cisco basically sitting on their highs. Interestingly enough, it's the only thing I could really find showing that kind of strength. If it's going to be a down day, it's hard to imagine that. You probably give a little bit back here when you're pushing through those tops in the pre-market. But it's certainly down around like the 50. Maybe you could find a little bit of support. But if we do one of those turnaround rallies, I mean, you got to watch out for Cisco. 51.02 I have as a pre-market high, but. I mean, I don't know, like a 51 break if this market starts to rebound. Like if we're trying to push back to 12.8 on the NASDAQ here, and the ES can maybe get through that 38.70 or something along those lines. You know, Cisco being the one thing, one of the bigger names I can find that actually is positive on the session. That looks pretty solid through 51. Wasn't on the list before, but that's why we look at these upgrades and downgrades.
Guys, Rahim Alani, OCI Group's joining me as promised this morning. We were just discussing the fact that there's traffic in Toronto right now, even during a pandemic, which is kind of surprising. But let's discuss the group first. We're going to talk a little bit about some individual names, opportunities possibly to come in the coming days, weeks, months type of thing. But overall, as a sector, I mean, we had some earnings this week. You know, there was news out of the U.S. again last week, positive news, positive momentum coming from New York State. saying they're very close to legalization. As a sector, I mean, still positive.
As a sector, definitely very positive. The Canadian growers, as a start, were the ones that led the sort of push into the sector. But now it's the retail side, it's the U.S. side, the U.S. multi-states. Those are the bigger plays right now. The fact that COVID's been here and there, COVID has definitely led to a lot of people purchasing cannabis, for better or for worse. And that's led to a lot of revenue bumps for the guys that have involvements into those. And governments are now saying, Pennsylvania as an example, came out and said, we're going to have a budget shortfall. Cannabis is a place to pick up some money.
Yep.
And so there's going to be a lot more operators happening in Pennsylvania, as an example, and New York, as you said.
Yeah, let's jump into individual names. Organogram, the first one, primary listing here in Canada, but one that is kind of here and there, as you mentioned. But it seems like once a week we're talking about it on the show at least.
Yeah, no, the fact that they had a huge investment from British Tobacco, I think it was about 10 days ago. They got a massive investment. They're one of the top 8, I think, in by market cap in the world in terms of cannabis. And they're going to continue to grow. The fact that they got the British Tobacco investment, it seems like of the bigger players all get sort of a blessing from the bigger pharmas and tobaccos and drink companies in the world, as you look at Canopy and Constellation, so on and so forth. So British Tobacco coming in and saying, stamp of approval to Organogram is sort of a huge move for them.
Big name, big financing. Yep. Always positive going forward. Let's talk about Jushi Holdings.
Yeah, Jushi's again another one that's sort of gone under the radar. It's been a little quiet, but in the last couple of months, if you look at the chart, it's flown. Good group, good management team. Based in the U.S., a lot of capital markets guys in there as well, and multi-state. Again, they have a core holding base out of in the U.S., and they're going to continue to grow state by state by state. And I think they're going to be a name that's going to continue to grow on both sides. Again, it's dual listed, so it's a nice play.
All right, next one here, Heritage Cannabis. My mistake.
Heritage is a good name as well. They just listed their warrants, so they've got the warrants and the company listed here. They're also dual listed in the U.S. They've made an acquisition. They just did a big financing for about $13 million. So they've got cash in the till. They've got product in Canada. They're going to the U.S. They've made several announcements in the last 10 days. They made an acquisition, and they've got a play in Brazil as well. So
what's going to be, we talk about these individual names, but what's going to be the next thing that kind of pushes these things, as a group, as individual names? Like we say, there's news almost weekly on individual names. But as a whole, what's going to be the next catalyst for these?
So if you look at an individual name basis, I would say the fact that they're doing financings and things like that, and mergers and acquisitions, is going to be sort of the individual name catalyst. But for a sector, it's going to be U.S. banking. As soon as that happens, everything's going to fly.
And that's, funding has always been an issue for the industry in
banking,
the U.S.
Just being able to transact banking-wise, that's the big step.
Okay, let's get through a couple more here. Verano is next. VRNO, the ticker.
Yeah, Verano just went public a little while ago. They had a play in place to be acquired for about $800 million. About 10, 12, 18 months ago, something like that, whatever it was. And Verano just went public, raised about $100 million, and they are multi-state again. Pennsylvania, Illinois, West Virginia, they're getting into. So many states that they're going into. They have a play with Sol. SOL is the ticker. It's another play. It's another way to play that name. Because there's some issues going on there. You can look into it. I won't talk too much about it, but it's a different way to play the name. But Verano is a great name. Trades a little lightly, but it's a high dollar name.
We've seen some, positive earnings in the group this week. As you mentioned, this pandemic has definitely benefited the entire sector as a group. If there's one or two, I mean, we mentioned a bunch here, but if there's one or two, maybe on the bigger scale, some of these names, a lot of people might not recognize. If there's one or two on a bigger scale that people should keep in mind, what would those be?
I mean, the names that you always look to are, the Canopies and the Afrias of the world. So if you want to look at it that way, I've had a few questions. People saying, do I go the ETF route? If you want to take the basket, the ETF route is a great way to go. But if you want to take an individual name basis, you obviously go for the Canopies and the Afrias of the world if you want to go large cap. If you want to go into the smaller cap, a bunch of these names here that we've talked about are high dollar names outside of Heritage. They're high dollar names that you can really get into and make some moves on, like as an example, Jushi trades a couple 100,000 shares a day
Right.
at the $8-9 mark. So.
Right. Great. Thank you. Rahim Alani, OCI Groups here in Toronto. Pleasure as always. We'll look forward to another visit in a couple of weeks. We'll talk about maybe tech stocks next, NFT-related stocks possibly next.
I'm actually buying a couple NFTs as we speak.
I think you're not the only one. Great stuff. Thank you, Rahim. Let's jump back into what is moving around here in the pre-market. Guys, if you haven't done so already, make sure you head over to the brand new site and register. All you need is an email address for our absolutely free morning note that comes out before we come on every single morning at 8:30. If you need the link for that, Valeria will help you out in the chat. We mentioned cruise operators here, guys. The first group on the list this morning, you know, let's kind of drill down here and see if we can't find a trade. Obviously, the CDC note, the main story here, but let's drill down, see if we can't find a trade on one of these cruise operaters today.
I just want to show the chart of CGC because Rahim just mentioned canopy growth, and it's right at a key level here, $30. Like I'm with Rahim on this one. This is the name that I continue to. I haven't put new money to work in this, but this is the one that I continue to hold. My first purchase on CGC was in the Canadian space, which is, of course, I'll call it up for you here. It's weed.to. I was late to the game and I bought this thing at $6, and you know it's been on huge runs, and it just goes up and down. And with the wind here, I think Rahim's spot on with what COVID's done to cannabis and to people's thought of cannabis and you know the use of cannabis. You're seeing some big runs in, you know, he talked about British Tobacco getting into Organogram, and Constellation has already made an investment into cannabis and Canopy a hell of a long time ago. And I feel that they still will make more, as CGC, which is weed.to and or CGC, is at a very, very key level right now. And I think if you are bullish on any of the cannabis names, check out weed or its U.S. counterpart, CGC, depending on what kind of funds you have there. Check those names out. But you were talking about cruise lines or what? Because we already, we talked about Carnival, but I want to talk quickly about Boeing. This is another loved name that both Neil and I mean, I think a lot of you guys like this name. And Boeing, just even in the last couple of days, man, fallen off. Like, the market is not holding any names up right now unless you're really in the finance sector, or I don't know, Union Pacific is a good name as well, with KSU and CP Rail going together. But Boeing right now is again, it's getting tested, man. We are right at these levels, and I apologize. I know this is not a cruise line, but I think it's you know tied to the same kind of idea of reopen and of travel. Yeah, a great buying opportunity again. I can't keep saying. I mean, look, when the market goes down and you're a longer-term investor, you got to start nibbling. I have no idea what the market's going to do. All we can really do is suggest names that we believe are strong, that will bounce back if and when the market decides to turn around. So I would be picking up Boeing here as we go for a day trade, though. We're at a very, very key level on Boeing, man. This 235, we're going to see if it can hold. I don't know. You know, this is 235 in here. Where it looks like we want, this is 235 at the top right here as well. So a bunch of 235 wicks here, and that's right where we're at. So we're going to see if Boeing can hold 235. Before I throw to Neil, I'm just going to throw the imbalance locator up. And again, you know, beloved names, industrial names, GE, forget about SOS. We talked about Bitcoin. We know why that's selling off. What is Bitcoin right now?
Small.
Ooh, 51, it bounced. NEO on there, but look, very, very limited action right now on the imbalance locator. I believe people are scared today. And that statement might sound ridiculous, but I just think we're on that point where the bulls want to buy and the bears don't think the selling is done. So, you know, you could have a fight here early on, and I just think that no one really wants to show their hand yet. We'll wait to see what does come through.
You know why that scares me, Sean? Because like sometimes to me that just feels like some of the big players that if the big players want to buy it today, they might not be showing their hand. And that's the scary part about it. But I just want to quickly show, because Sean had the imbalance locator up and you saw NEO's basically nothing, but look at this order that keeps flashing in here at 35 for 400,000 shares. So like there is some large order flow going into the New York book, and a lot of it is popping into that buy side, but it's not really showing up on the locator. I know we're going to talk about CCL here just to get back. I did mention, and it's interesting enough, I mean, man, if Boeing falls a little bit further, I still maintain selling at 250 was not the best timing in the world, even though it looks good in hindsight. Hindsight's always 20/20, guys. Getting back in makes a heck of a ton of sense to me. For the pure day trade, we're already getting close to testing this 24 on CCL, and if this is going to be one of those quick little sell and maybe the market can find a bit of a bottom, I think that's going to be the first indication. Like, it's probably the first stock where you could already test what will be a significant level, and that's going to be that 24 even for me. If I see somebody jump in and try to buy that, whether in the tape or with just a gigantic order, that's the first little dip buy I would try. But I don't know how much room you can give it. It might only be like a few pennies past that 24 before needing to step away from it, because if it breaks that level, you don't want to get caught holding into like 23.50 or 23.75. Not on CCL. It's too easy to get back in and out of that trade. But as I say that, it's done 800,000 shares in the pre-market on CCL. So, I mean, that feels a little bit light given the activity and the prices that it's sitting at right now, which goes right back into that theory that maybe some people are holding back into this open and waiting to see what happens in the first 5 minutes. There's a famous trader, well, not a famous trader, but there's a trader we had on our floor, and I know what he'd be saying about a day like today. Be very, very careful in the first 5 minutes.
All right, just reading through this note on QuantumScape. I'm not seeing a reference price here. Yeah, we talked about the share offering back on Monday, I think it was, that they came out and said they were considering a share offering. So that was just price. So you saw a big spike down on not a big spike down, but volume anyways, to the downside on QS. Let's get a look at the market here. We'll bring in Arun and have a look at the futures. Yeah, pretty negative to start. Even with numbers that weren't as bad as expected out this morning, Arun, we're still kind of selling off here again.
Yeah, technically we have broken that bottom that I have been, kind of marking off for a while now. That 38.75, that was the range bottom for me. So anything from 3,900 going down to 38.75, I was looking if it's set up for potential buys. Now we got right through that level in late session in afternoon, and we broke it this morning. So now what I'm going to look to do is any pop that we can get into the mid 70s. So I'll start my fade around mid 70s or so, and I'm going to be open to fading all the way up to 39.10. Now that GDP report that came out did come out better than expected. So what I'm hoping for, because we are still 10 points away from where I would like to start getting some shorts, is that number at the open would get us a little bit higher, just into the mid 70s, so I can actually start working some shorts. So now I've got some offers out there already, but I am looking for a lot of support or resistance, formerly support. So when you look for playing off of levels that have just gone, you're trying to use that previous order flow to kind of slow the move, the current move, right? So the current move I would hope to be the upside. I'm looking to fade that. So anything from 38.75 going all the way up to 39.10, I'm willing to fade. Now, here's the technical issue. If that 39.10 goes, we have the potential for this to be a false breakout, which then opens the door for you to go long with the high being 39.45. So the false breakout actually tends to, anytime there's a technical failure, the opposite trade tends to make more money than the initial. But until that actually happens, I'm open to fading it up to 39.10, then I'll flip it and go long if that actually ends up happening. But for now, just be aware, there's a lot of resistance around that low 80s going all the way up to the 3,900 mark, which was previously support.
Great stuff. Thanks so much, Arun. We'll check back in again tomorrow morning. It'll be Friday tomorrow, which is kind of nice. Let's talk about QuantumScape, guys. It's been quite the week for QS. They have officially now priced their $416 million offering that they talked about back on Monday. So they were just kind of discussing it, if you remember, on Monday. Wasn't much of a reaction as far as price is concerned, but we've had 3 days with sharp declines here for QS.
Yeah, I mean, you see what's happening. I mean, I traded this like a madman yesterday. You see the action right now in the SPAC world, right? And so you're going to get recent IPOs that are basically SPACs themselves. They're technically not SPACs, but they're brand new companies with very little revenue, if any revenue at all, and no profits, nothing to show for. So where are they going to have to make money? They're going to have to make money in the open market, and unfortunately, it's shareholders who get it up the yin yang, because you can't really protect share offerings when they come through and they're in the billions of dollars and millions of shares. it's very, very hard to withhold levels. And yesterday we tried, and it's a good thing we got out of the way here, you know, when it was breaking 53. I forget when we gave up on it. I think it was basically this 53.50 break right in around here. We gave up, and thank God we did. We should have reversed to the short side with this offer news coming today, down to 41 right now, and pushing lower. I mean, we were just... Brendan, like,
wow.
you know,
I mean,
when you just did that story there, you showed the chart or the news there from Reuters, whatever it is. Maybe you have that story again. You can throw it up on the screen. But that was $43, Brendan, when you just mentioned that. And now we are straight, like that straight fire right down. Like that's, you know, from 43 to 40 there. Like, you know, you're not supposed to move like 8 or 9% here in the pre-market like that. But like big move up, big move down. The key point here is where we're stopping. Now, I'll try the long. There's probably going to be better longs today. I don't even know if we'll try it. I may just try the short through 40, but that could come sooner rather than later. We've dropped down to 40 before. We were a buyer on earnings. You guys know that. We bought, I think it was right in here. Yeah, this is the earnings date, early February. Bang, it goes all the way to 70. Man, do I look like an idiot now, not getting out at 70, but whatever, I was still expecting higher. I think this name can be averaged into, but we may, I mean, look at IPO price, man, 28, 25. That's not even that far away. So, I mean, you break through this 40, there's going to be a problem. Let's see. We can scroll down. I don't think we'll see anything. There's a little bit of size. Whoops, where did it go? Oh, yeah, now see, now it's just coming down. So there's a little bit of size there at 40, but that could disappear in a flash. Already 2.3 million shares. I'm looking at QuantumScape at this 40 level and biting my nails because I don't know how much longer this thing's going to continue to go down, but I will try to pick up a long sitting around that 40 level, but yikes, it might be a better short today, guys, than a long.
Yeah, that 40 is scary. And if it breaks that 40 and we head to the downside, and you imagine the scenario that we don't actually get any intraday shorts. If things get absolutely hairy, you look at that bottom back at like 22 and you start thinking about if it breaks this range and gets halfway, 31, you know, 31 is going to be that halfway point to me. It's not to say that you just like park a bid down there, but if things get absolutely crazy on QuantumScape, that would be where I'd be sort of guessing a bit at a bit of a dead cat bounce if it does go absolutely hairy through 40. But that's the big level, and you're seeing again people are sort of hiding back and not tipping their hands immediately where these buy orders are coming in, and maybe there is one at 40. I think if you take that 41, you have a tight stop, and then you know, don't hold on to this one too long as a day trade.
So let's have a look at the 10-year here today, because we just broke to the downside, in fact, 1.60. So back to 15945 here on the 10-year. Let's talk about some tech stocks. Led the slide yesterday, a good word. Big move to the downside for the NASDAQ, 2+%. All of the big names were under pressure. Apple, Facebook, Netflix, even, I mean, Tesla, not a tech stock, obviously, but almost included in this group as default, 4.8% at the end of the day for Tesla.
It's just as you say that, and like once again, there's just another sign that like, okay, well maybe if that's coming down the 10-year there, you could get some kind of a bounce. Apple, I actually wish Apple was sort of hanging right around this 116 a little bit better, because that would make a heck of a lot easier to just say, okay, go, you know, pick this one up in front of that 116, and that looks like a good level to me. I know a lot of people are going to be looking at Tesla, so I do want to jump to that. So yeah, this is my daily chart. So if you look at that last cluster, and of course this is 600, and we talked about this, you get that 10% from there, and that 540 bottom, which is crazy. But all things at 600, that's going to be the key. It would not surprise, when you talk about that, I guess, failed breakout or failed breakdown type of trade, if that's going to be the case at 600, I'm going to have Tesla up no matter what, because if Tesla holds the 600 right off of the open, and then starts to bounce back up, and you see one of those like 605, 610s. Like I've been a part of that, missing it, trying to catch it, that bounce to the upside. So as much as you might like to look at some shorts today, and I think we're going to be a little bit weak, that initial shot at if you get a key level and you can have a tight stopped a long when it breaks through that level, maybe comes right back in, maybe you get like 60102 and you just throw a stop at the low of the day, that kind of thing. I'm going to like. If we do get any kind of pep in our step in Tesla, I'm fading 640, which is, of course, yesterday's level. That was a key level for me yesterday was 640. So if we get up to that price, I'm fading it for sure up there. And it's a pretty big bounce. I'd probably have to be really, really convinced that it's a monster day in the market to not try that fade.
Yeah, I mean, I think the market's going to bounce. I don't know. We'll see. There's so much stuff happening right now. But this is the name that I called to for all you guys right now. And I just think Microsoft with Discord talking about them buying Discord, I think that's a good move. Microsoft continues to have their hands into everything that is, gaming with Xbox. That's a good little option. And then they obviously have the cloud. And there's just a lot happening with Microsoft right now. I like this stock. I think it's a pretty solid name. And if you see yesterday, this is why I go to it. Like yesterday's bottom in the morning, 235.42. Then we ripped up to 237, so basically $2 straight up, and then we closed right at that bottom again. So 235.40. Not a major move yesterday for Microsoft. So I think that this could hold up as opposed to Facebook that went from 300 to 280. This Microsoft 235 level, I want to put some low bids here. I mean, it's going to hit right now, but you do have that wick down here. So maybe we don't buy 235. Maybe we buy some of these bottoms here. 234.60, 234.50, and then we see if that can hold. That's the pre-market bottom. If that holds, then we can probably get a 235 break to the high side. So this is my plan. I'll just tell it to you what it is. 235 bid, we'll put some bids there. We'll get long. We'll get like 20% of the position we want. And then as it fades into 235.50, we'll start to average in, take some. And then we'll use 234 as our out. Look, if the market wants to crash, then it can crash. And I'll be long Microsoft and I won't feel as bad because at least the plan is there. I do like that CCL break. I don't know, is that breaking through 224 anytime soon? Or sorry, 24? Yeah, so that CCL break. There's a lot of good breaks, man. We talked about QS. And then here's NEO, just to give you guys that one more time. I want to keep it on here so I can show you. There's a big bid. Just keep watching. There it is. Oh, did you guys see? There it is. Oh, where'd it go? There is a big bid there waiting on New York. So NEO, there it is again. There, we're playing hide and go seek here. That order could influence that open, but it's really strange, and I don't know what is going on because this is a NEO sell 400,000. They've already paired off 400,000. So for some reason, I don't know if that order is real or what's happening because that order alone is 430,000 shares. So I'm not sure what's going on with the book today. It seems light to me. We'll check on Ford here. Wow, Ford down to 12. Okay, there's lots of buying opportunities, man. You got to get your shopping list out today. We'll wait to see what happens, but wow, 14 minutes and we go, Bitcoin right now, guys, on a nice little move back upside here. That's a one daily. Let's check out the 1 minute. A nice bounce off 50. There it is again. There's that level. We talked about it within the 500s here. So it bounces off that 50,500 and now it's having problems at 51. So next stop, 51.5. You break that, we go long SOS, Mara, things like that.
Yeah, much more volume right across the board for crypto-related stocks as well. So keep those in mind. Let's talk about Nike here. Under pressure, down 4+% at this point in the pre-market after making a comment about forced labor in China on social media. There was actually no date when the comment was released, but the backlash started on Chinese social media yesterday and lasted overnight. So Nike shares down here significantly, guys.
Yeah, gonna go. Just so you guys know, APOP. This is on the move here. It's actually an interesting name. Select Biotechnology. It may not be on our watch list, but I just got in and out of it, blown out of a 540 short at like 555 break. So that's going to be on watch. This story, when I first thought, I'm like, okay, well, it's probably not going to be too big of a move to the downside. Might not be the huge opportunity that I want. But part of the story is about, look, if you believe in the consumer, if you believe that this is the time that you want to get into that, consumer discretionary, whatever you want to call it, the rotating belief that the economy is coming back and get into some of these names. I liked Walmart before for that. Nike falls into this category. You look at some of the prices that you might, if this goes any further, what you might be able to get on the daily chart down at 120, which I actually wrote down 120 because I was like, heck, you should just have a bid down there anyways. But I kind of feel like this is going to be a value. The only thing with this is that's probably more of a long-term type of idea. Like I wouldn't. This is not something I'd be sitting here for the day trade. Just buying into Nike when we have this, when we have this momentum going in. The thing is, if there is this possible reversal that could come in, maybe sell off the open, the names that are going to probably appreciate the most are going to be your Teslas, your Neos, your techs, right? So even if this is a good point on the day trade for something like a Nike and it might make you some money, if you catch a bottom in something else, it's going to be a little bit better. And I do feel like if you're shorting into this name today, I love that support at 220. I think that's more of a long-term pickup. So I don't know that I'm going to be day trading around this news because I already sort of felt like it was down too much based on this. We've sort of seen this come up before, and it's not that it isn't a serious story. There are some ramifications that could come there when it comes to that large market that's available to them. But overall, I'd much rather be buying if there's a continued weakness in Nike that sort of extends beyond today, as opposed to trying to catch a bottom on a day trade.
It's unbelievable what the run that Nike's been on to the downside. I mean, this is a fantastic company with tons of brand awareness. Mark Roberts talks about buying Lulu and some other names, but I'd be buying Nike hand over fist before Lulu. I have to check a Lulu chart. I mean, if they're the same, then I feel equally about them. But this is just on this news, man. You're getting a 4% birthday present, in my opinion, down here today, down to 125. Like, I mean, I actually missed some of the levels you were talking about there, Neil. But 120 and like 124, like these levels down here are just. I don't know. I'm gonna. You know what? I have never even stepped into Nike yet. I already hold like 20 to 25, 30 names. And I just checked. I want to talk about Square soon. Actually, let me talk about Square soon. Nike, I'm adding to the portfolio. I don't know about a day trade today. I like this 128. So that's what I wrote down today. 128 on Nike. I mean, if it gets back there, I think it's an ultimate buy. Someone asked me about Square, so I'm going to, and I said I'd get to it. So I'm going to live up to that promise right now as well. It's the same level. I just looked. My last buy on Square. Ooh, my ears just popped. Oh, that was weird. My last buy on Square, I can't even hear myself think anymore, which seems to be normal. 212, I last bought Square. So I was talking about that as it ripped to 250. It's a long-term play. My average price is still sub 100, even with a 212 buy. But like right here, man, we're right at these levels. Like, how could you not like Square here at 200? And I get it. Bitcoin's going down. If you don't believe in that game, if you don't believe that we're moving towards mobile payments, if you believe in the old bank system, look, I'm a long in JP Morgan. I probably have equal cash in both of these names, but I think Square has to get bought here. Uh-oh, what just happened? Oh no, I'm into QS right now. Okay,
it
here
already
we
hit
go.
40? Oh my God.
Neil, it's
oh my God.
Oh man, look. You should never, ever get into a trade and then say, oh man, I'm in the trade, okay? But I'm in the trade now, and I just didn't think this would come this early. We're gonna get out if it breaks 40. This is a no-brainer trade for me. It's very, very light. It looks like I maybe have no brain going long here, but I think this is worth the shot into that 40. We talked about 40 right here. It just came faster than I thought. I'm long at 21. It's not a big position. It's like 10% of what I would normally take. I do have another bid, actually, even a little bit lower here. I'm gonna get filled again. You're gonna see in about a second here. And then we'll just punch out when it breaks through 40. But right now, QS, man, it's heading to the north downside, south side right now, QS. I'm actually going to put my stop a little bit lower.
Sean, I should say, look, of course, we're having a little bit of fun here. Like, trading Quantscape is going to be, it's a serious trade, of course, but there's some decent liquidity on this stock. You'll see some bids down here in front of that 40 position. So, we have access to all the different gateways trading in the pre-market. If you don't, it can be tricky and it can be a lot riskier to make a trade like that if you don't have that kind of access, but we do. So I don't think there's any trouble getting liquidity. If Sean wants it out at 40, he's going to get it, right? So we're laughing about it because I really didn't think. I thought maybe after the open we'd be testing 40 even, not here 7 minutes before. I get scared of the counter trend trade going into 9:30 almost every single time because I feel like I never do well with it.
This is how I know I'm in the right place, because I say that and everybody laughing and everybody like, oh no, like we know exactly about that. So thank you so much for all that. We're all in the same boat right now. I think you might be right. QS already reported. If you recall, QuantumScape reported that they're not going to be making profit until 2025, and here I am buying the stock. So yeah, good call. Oh, okay, here's 40 right here, Brendan. Looks like it's going to break. I've adjusted my stop to 39.50 just because this came so fast, and we'll wait to see here what does now happen at this 40 level. It looks like it's going to get busted any minute now, and then we'll have to, here it goes. Bye-bye. Straight to the downside. Remember what I said, guys? Here it goes. Wow, okay. This is a small position. We actually just got lit up again at 39.80 there. So, now my average price is only 09. So we'll see here if it does hold that. I doubt it, but there was a big flush. We're going to get out at 39.50. It's a small position, guys, so I won't be too upset if this doesn't work out for me, guys.
All right, guys, we're running quite late here, so let's get through a couple if we can. Rite Aid Corporation downside today. They cut their full year forecast, so negativity on RAD. There's GameStop as well. They came out down again this morning in the pre-market. Yeah, we're lighting everything on fire this morning. So GameStop, AMC as well, lower. Let's talk about NFT stocks as well, because these things were crazy the past couple of days. But even these NFT stocks not bouncing here in the pre-market.
Guys, just like I said, there's no problem with this QS trade. For sure it was going to work out. Absolutely no problem. Yeah, just joking about that one. But yeah, okay. Now we're in the money 50 pennies. So there it goes. QS right up to the upside. We're long 40.06. We just took some out there at 20, and now we're up to 40.40. So, hey, man, there it is. I told you guys it would work out. I told you there was going to be no problem with this trade. But hey, sometimes you get lucky, and I consider it right now, as we'll see. Man, we have a great price on Quantum. Let's see if we can't. Wow. Okay, Neil. 60 pennies, 70 pennies now with the money.
So that's what a fail break looks like. And I'm not going to lie, guys. I had 01s long and just set my stop, and I'm like, look, I'm just getting out when it breaks, and I lost 8 pennies. So the fact that I wasn't slipped probably should have been a sign that it was going to be really strong. I know we only have 5 minutes left to go. I want to quickly just talk about that NFT space. If there's strength, I want to sell into it today. Dolphin, particularly about that 1650. If it gets another push like this that it had at 9 o'clock, I think you can maybe use that. The other one is Cinedigm. If you get this one right, I don't know if this is one. I don't know if we put this one on the list. I just want to make sure. Yeah, I think we did. But Cinedigm hasn't had the run that some of these other ones have had in the last couple of sessions, and it's getting right into this like 230. That's a big test, because as all these other names are showing a lot of weakness here, the inability for Cinedigm to get through that 230 is going to be a big sign. So I'd like to play shorts only off of that level, and if there is any strength, if any of those names start to rebound and really start to run, I probably would look at a Cinedigm through like a 230. I mean, the liquidity is going to be really good on it, which just sets it apart from some of these other names, why I would kind of like it. But first thing first, I'll probably be fading that Cinedigm off that 230 level. Just wanted to show the daily chart on this particular name. I know we didn't trade that one in the last couple of sessions, looking at Dolphin and your YVRs and some of these other NFT plays.
Okay, I just took another piece off at 92. Like, honestly, guys, this is now $1 in the money. And I did want to say a big shout out to Jerry. I can't remember. I don't know where you went there, Jerry. But you said a great stop adjustment. And yeah, I mean, that's what you got to do. I made that. I'll give you some advice on G in a second. But that's what I had to look at this, man. That was just such a great stop adjustment. When it came down, I mean, it's a good word. Thanks for that. When that came down to 40, you couldn't have 40 as your stop anymore, because it was going to take that out. We saw that, right? I mean, it was just lucky that it bounced back up. I mean, like, as I was in the trade, I told you this was a problem. But we were able to get people on that flush, and thank God we had a bid there, just like we said, 39.80. We just took that bid out, and now you're ripping to the high side there. So a little bit of a flush there on QS. Let's see if we can't start the day with a few more winners. But this is a beautiful one here on QS as we keep on ripping up. And my next offer is at 40 right here.
Oh, I don't know if we're going to Brent, but CCL here, 24 even is now on the bid. Only about like a couple of minutes to go till the open. This is another key test, and this is the one I kind of wanted for the fail break. And you're looking at, this is interesting because as I look over here, I have a couple of stocks that are just already up. NEO just bounced a couple of times off of a low. So you have some stocks which are ranging at the low, some of which have already made a bit of a bounce. So I'm kind of looking at this like 35, 25 area, maybe around VWAP as well. If these can hold the bottom, the market is trying to hold up. It could be one of those days where you get a little bit of a push. And we talked about this, like that reversal idea in the back of our minds. I am still in this IMMP. Well, not in this IMMP. I'm still in that ENOB, but I'm looking to sell this one. If there's any kind of a push off this double bottom at 318, I am looking to get into IMMP, hopefully off of the open here. I just have an order. I don't want to miss out if it goes to VWAP. I want to make sure I get that trigger into position. And the other one I'm still holding, ENOB. And this was, to me, anytime I see a biopharma name that's up, biopharma name that's up like a gigantic percentage, the first thing I look for is what happens when they try to test the high. And it failed so hard, like 1, 2, 3 times, that I didn't catch any of these. I was sort of sitting down after 7 o'clock. And so once I saw that pattern, it's like just short every single pop. This is absolutely cratering at this point. And it just broke 4 even. if it breaks back above 4, I'm just going to take the rest of it out. Like, there's no need to hang on. And if it pops back into 450, I'm definitely shorting this thing again in front of VWAP. So ENLB, I mean, it's sort of obvious in the pre-market that it couldn't find any push and it wanted to give up the ghost. 350 was previous close. If it got to there, fantastic. But when you're like 70 cents in the money on a 470 stock, you really should be considering where you're going to take profit.
Okay, yeah, now we're $1.50 in the money now, and we just took some out on QS, so we're gonna wait for that one. Wow, okay. This is turning out to be a nice morning, making back what we lost yesterday on QS already. So yeah, that's good. We're happy with that. I just had an offer though at $41.91. It went to okay. Here we go. Let's go. If I can get this fill, man, this is $2 winner right now off QS. So good trade there. Checking on Neil, watching out for that one. Just give me that. There, I got the fill. Yes, we're up already 1 times daily goal now on this trade. So Neil looks like it wants to break here. Let's give it some love up to 35.65. Neil, hit that. We're about to open. Let's go.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, my bad. Just actually hit that like a couple of seconds late, and it does delay. Get that bell down. I can tell you right now, it's really at 5, 4, 3, 2. Hit it now, Ms. B, because this market is open.
Okay, so we're into Microsoft already off some little bids here. We talked about getting into Microsoft, so we're in there now. 235, there's that bid, like we said, 234.75. We're gonna play it off the 234 bottom. Microsoft 234 bottom, let's see what happens. We do take the bid out on NEO as well. Long 55s right now, NEO.
Yeah, couldn't even get the break downside on CCL, so it already heads down. We talked about that there could be a bit of a bounce play on that stock. It looks like that's not going to be the case. NIO was the other one I was watching for, and that absolutely broke out like a gangbusters. And I'm going to get to Dolphin in a second here, but CCL showing no strength whatsoever.
Okay, yeah, man. QS, big win right now. 42.14. Let's take some more out if we can get 14s. Bang! $2.50 win right there. Hit the cowbell. Microsoft ripping to the high side as well. We are long 234.94. It's not ripping as much as I thought. We were just at 40 there. That's what tricked me. So we'll get some orders out to see if we can't get out of some Microsoft right now off this long. And then we did take that long on NEO and cashed in right there long. Yes, sir. Long NEO 35.50. It's at 36.25 right now and making moves, man. There goes NEO. Yes, sir. What a difference a day makes. Hit the air horn. Congratulations, anyone took the long bias with us.
And here comes that Dolphin. I've tried to sell into that 16 area. You can see here, I got some orders in here, guys. This is me trying to catch the top. This is what I wanted to push in. I said I would sell on any strength that it showed. I tried to get it on the top, but you know how I try to trade. It's going to be get in on the way down, not just throw offers on the way up. Definitely should have done that. CCL just broke back above that 24 level, so looking like it's trying to hold the bottom. It was a little bit of a late start to that one, so I'm going to start building a position above 24. We wanted to see the fail break to the downside and then play it long.
Okay, yeah, so today looks like a long day, man. Now QS, guys, look at this trade, man. $3 now in the money, probably worth taking one more piece out right now. But the market's still ripping, man. Here it goes, big time trade. The only problem was I took out NEO. No, that was actually a good one, 36.13. Okay, good trade there. Microsoft, 55 cents now in the money and making new highs right now on the day. Microsoft, look at this buy. And again, I went and talked about this today, right before the market hit, that we like the Microsoft long. I told you, if there's any name you're going to go long today and you could be like confident with, it is Mr. Softy. So here goes Softy right now, 235, 236. Let's go. Let's take another piece off right now on Softy. Really, 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 really happy with the chicken dinner winners today, guys.
Brendo?
All right, initial mover here, AMC, guys. Big move to the upside right out of the gate. $9 broke there. We're straight through to $9.80 on AMC. Getting back into some of these levels from yesterday, guys.
Why is that with AMC there today? Was there news about AMC? I mean, I know it's a mover. I know GameStop is obviously moving as well, but let's just check out GameStop quickly. Yeah, 127. So AMC killing it, but QS killing it softly right now as well. Right back to these levels, man. 44. Hell yeah, QS. I'm going to take off one more piece here. I just don't want this to fall back down. Wow. Or am I going to take off one piece? QS to the moon right now, guys. Big time trade over here, Neil.
Yeah, I just got, look, I still have that CCL on the bounce. I got 11s. I tried to pick some up when it retook 24 a second time. It's already getting up to the quarters. When it breaks quarters, I'll start covering that position. There's so much room to run on some of these trades that you got to make sure you give yourself a bit of a bigger upside. This Dolphin is looking rather weak. So if you caught it at 15.50, fine. But this could actually now threaten the low of the day. That's actually at 14.25. So the NFT names are not participating in this rally, at least as far as I can tell. Still looking weak over there.
70-cent win there, taken more than that, almost $1 there taken on Microsoft, 90-cent win to the upside right there. And then QS, man, we just look where we just took that out on that little bump up. Now I have 10% left of the trade, guys. Out. I mean, most of them were out right here at VWAP 42, so we'll celebrate that one. But hey, when you got the trade on and it's moving like this, you got some money to cash in. So a nice little trade there on QS. We talked about Boeing. We talked about Square. How about that Square buy at 200 there? If anybody, I mean, you could have done the same trade as I did on QS there. This is now breaking out to the upside. Check Facebook back here. Facebook, there it is, 281. Okay, so Facebook actually not really moving too much today. It does bottom 279, 281. We'll find some more levels here. CCL, Neil's got that one. XOM. Oh, what about Nike? I said buy Nike hand over fist. I can't do anything in my own account until we're off the show. That's just, shoot. Oh, good thing I didn't hit you, Valeria. Yeah, that Nike trade, guys. This one, man. Oh, like
I didn't even think that was going to be
that
an
120. Damn it! I knew that was going to go up. Ah, well.
So I got back into that ENOB, but I'm watching Occidental try to take out the low of the day here, guys. It's looking rather weak. I thought maybe we get a bounce off 26. Has not happened yet. That's the first level I'm looking at. If it can break, I'd maybe scalp Oxy. We talked about this on the daily chart. Brendo, something else?
Some of the names that were hardest hit yesterday, guys, showing the most strength here. XPeng to start, 29 up to 30.5. You can have a look at any of the Chinese EV makers. They're all ripping, guys.
Yeah, I mean, NEO was such a great trade for me, and we got in and out fast, man. In at that break right there. We talked about 35.50. We liked that. We got in. Out first level 75. We do that every time, and then out again as it breaks back above 36. I want to talk about QS because you got to get out of this at some point. 42.50 on QS will be my out. So that's just giving you guys that update. And there goes Microsoft, man. Now we're cooking with fire, guys, as Microsoft up to 236 today and still making moves. That was the long that I liked, guys. I hope you hit some of that as well with me at 235.
So dip on CCL, the low of the day. When you take that retracement buy, I'm going to get out at the low of the day, which is 23.72. I mean, 70s is going to be a roundup. But this is the trade that I just worked back into and now have to play patience game because ENOB, which was a fantastic one off the open. Remember, I was in the money like 70 cents. Take your profit is what I said. Maybe started it too early, but I had to leave myself some room because the real level here is up at 470. So if it makes a turn in front of 470, that's where I got to make sure I get some shares in, of course. I do that thing where I'm talking to you guys, and then I should be executing, but just pick some shares up in front of that 470 level. CCL trying to bounce, but it's still hovering. Keep in mind, this is long at 24 as an average price, and we're talking about the quarter to the downside. So it's still a bit range bound, and the market is, I mean, the ES is still negative. It actually hasn't bounced that much. It's tech that is leading the way. Brendan?
Okay, another one to the downside, guys. Recent crazy mover, the Skills, SKLZ, down on earnings this morning. So they reported in the pre-market here. Earnings report was actually decent. Forecast was a bit of a question mark. So back above 19 here. Huge volume, though, for SKLZ.
I can't believe we talked about that Nike. Damn it. Oh, damn it. So many trades happening today, and we just talked about Facebook again, the NASDAQ going off right now as we just keep on going. Sampled your bang. My phone's text sound now. Yo, what up, Will? Thank you for that. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but we're really happy that you now have that as your phone. I don't know if you want it, but here it comes. Today we have a bunch of bangers on board for you right now. So there it is. Let's just keep on going, guys, with these names. We took a big hit yesterday going short. Nepa. We reversed our fortune today all the way to the high side right now, 285. What up to all my French friends? 285.50 now on Facebook, just ripping names off right here. Check out Square as well to the upside now. We have to find something to go long. Wow, 209. We talked about Nike being a gift down there at 125. It's now 128, 129. Facebook still ripping. I should have kept my NEO position as that is taking faces off right now as well. That's Square. Let's go to NEO.
So Sean,
up to 37.
Sean, NASDAQ's leading the way, but ES is trying to break. Now, finally, CCL makes a push. And we talked about that. Look, if you're going to take it when it bounces off that low, it's a fail break at 24. It heads down to 72. Once we get a test of that level, load up at the bottom. Stop is at that low of the day. That's the dip buy that we're going to do. Now, there is this level here, and I'm going to always scalp out in front of like a previous support level, then resistance in the pre-market there, and that's 24.50. So you're going to see me scalp some shares out there. Definitely going to look for the next leg in the 65 to 80 range on CCL. And I can tell you the reversal on ENOB, I should have a price of 55. My price is 42. I started it too early there. So instead of risking 15, 20 cents, I'm kind of risking 30. I want to be adding to it, but I can't because I took too much too early. Brendo?
All right, another one from the list, guys. Bionano Genomics, BNGO, big tank aftermarket yesterday on news of an offering. If you remember, earnings earlier in the week were decent. BNGO just blasted through 7 there, up to 750, guys, looking strong.
All right, so we didn't trade Palantir. We should have. Rocket, we're going to take out the high here. If it does go through 22.20, we'll do that, and then we'll just give it back to 22, see if that can work. Rocket going through the top there. My baby, which has been thrown out with the bathwater here, and it's not my baby. I'm way longer on. I should be looking at DraftKings, actually, right now. Palantir right back to yesterday's close, and so that's a good level to take through. $23, we'll try a long Palantir, it's through $22 as there it goes breaking. QS still high side, man, and Microsoft still working, but let's go Palantir now. Let's have a look at this one through 22. How's your CCL working? That's a trade I wish I missed that trade.
Yeah, I mean, of course I have ENOB because I'm actually executing on that one in a second, but I can get you guys to CCL here. It just made a turn, took some shares out in front of 50. If we can hold 24 again, you put in a higher low. I like the rebound type of play where I'm going to load back into it, or at least get back into the shares that we took off. But I probably wanted to test 24. I'm not looking at VWAP in this particular case, even though it might coincide with this last area of support at 24.15. In a morning like today, and we talked about some caution on a morning like this, give things a little bit more room than you're anticipating. So I'd rather dip by it at 80s to 85s, maybe even 90s than 24 even. Here's that ENOB, and this is the rollover where I kind of got tricked into, instead of taking a quarter, taking half the position, and that's ridiculous. I took the quarter here, which would have left me all the room in the world. Then I took another quarter like an idiot, and then it goes upside, so I end up with a half here, and then 42 is an average price, instead of, like I was just saying, 450. If I have 450s, suddenly it's looking a heck of a lot better. So yes, it's coming in the money, and yes, I'm winning, but I'm showing you real time how one little error in terms of getting into position can throw out the entire risk plan. I'm going to put some bids down all the way into that four even range, because if it comes back down to that price, I definitely want to have a bunch out. That's where I was taking shares off the first time. I see no reason not to do the same. And the other thing that we're mentioning, I think we talked about that shopping list here, Sean.
Yep.
There's a lot of charts that are going to look like this, but we'll start going through some of them. Maybe look at GM or something like that. But Ford making a bit of a retracement as well off of 1170. It's still negative on the session and could take out this 12. If this rally, which you're seeing push the NASDAQ currently back up to that 12.8 level, and the ES hasn't gone, if it breaks 38.70, some of the late movers could be names like a 4 through 12 even. So there's plenty of other plays that have not gone yet. I mean, NEO was up like $2, and I'm kicking myself because what did I say? Don't long Nike, because things like NEO could be the bigger plays to the upside if it starts going. I don't even have NEO, even though I got the chart right here, and 35 was such an unbelievable break.
Yeah, we had NEO. What up, Brendan?
All right, some of the semiconductors, guys, we saw them all very weak yesterday on the Intel news. $20 billion investment going into the U.S. from Intel. TSM here, just popping up on a volume scanner. 112 just broke, so we're back into basically day highs, straight to the upside for TSM, guys.
Taiwan semis. Okay, good look there. Maybe we have to look into some semis. New trade alert, and it's a hot dog kind of time right now because Palantir through 22 long, out some 10s, out some 12s, out some 15s right now as it continues to work. Yes, go Palantir. We're in the money nicely. We did buy yesterday at 21.80 on the close, so far so good. As we make our move to the upside, I did see Kathy Wood buy another 1.2 million shares. Shout out to you, Joseph Mendoza, for sending me that news as well. So that's making moves to the upside. Our QS, though, man, that's really the trade today that comes through. So we're riding the bull on QS as that continues to make new highs right now. $5 in the money on QS, $1 in the money on Microsoft. We're getting close right now to getting out of Softy. This VWAP I'm going to get out, man. 235 break, we gone. And we gone on this one, QS. Let me give you a quick little out for QS here, if I can find it. 43.50, let's do that. Rate downside here, 43.50 here is going to be our out on QS. Microsoft, and then Palantir, we're going to give this one some room, a little bit of room anyways, back down into the 60s here for QS. So again, trying to see if it wants to ride to the high side. That's why we took some profit out, so that if it does come back here, we can either A, average in, or B, I don't know if we want to average in, man. The NASDAQ, that was a big move up. We'll just see if it wants to continue to go, but that's going to be our out downside right there. So now we've gone through all that. There it goes again, man. Sometimes we do have these things there. Diamond hands right now on QS as we're making moves to the upside.
I'm your Huckleberry Gateway Hall. I'll get to ENOB in a second there because that just flushed down to $4. But APOP, I don't even see. I apologize because it happened. Someone said APOP testing 7. I'm like, yeah, I got out of that one a tight stop at 560 in the anticipation it would push the high of the day. You know the trade. Let it try to take out 7 even, and when that fails, you're all over it. I'm able to get 92 to the short side. Already taking some out in the mid 50s here, 61, and then all the way down my last exit point at 56. So nice little win. If it comes down to VWAP, I'll take some more shares off. But sometimes you stock these trades and they work. CCL is still resisting 24.50, guys. My last entry was that last buy in front of the low of the day, and so right now we're taking 60-cent winners. But I think it can punch through. I mean, the ES still hasn't gone yet, Brendo.
Sean, BFT was today, correct?
Correct.
The vote? Okay, so BFT just popping up here, guys, on volume through 15. So a volume alert here, 2% already for BFT.
I love that. Yeah, the BFT merger today, man. Yeah, I'm excited for it. Yeah, shout out to Shakib, man. You're loving the energy. I'm loving the market today, too. Wherever you were, what up? There he is. Higher energy than ever today. Thank you, Shakib, for that. And I hope you're trading well and making some money with us today. What a difference a day makes, for sure, for that one. Yeah, look, BFT, man, I mean, yeah, I like it. I've been buying. My last buy was down at 12.70. We talked about that. I'm not buying anymore. Let's just see what happens here on action day here. When they're voting it up. DraftKings, they already have the symbol. It's PSFE. That's pay safe. BFT going to turn in. I don't see any reason why that merger doesn't go through and why the vote doesn't go, but that's from what I've been reading. Who knows? I don't know that much anyways. Down to 62.50 here for that bottom of DraftKings. Wow, that was a bottom to pick, and that happened at 9 o'clock, similar to what we did with QS. That was the trade too, man. Like, we've been loving DraftKings, but look at the market now coming back in. And there goes our Microsoft. Hell yeah, money spitting out on you, Mr. Softy, today. As that comes out, the chart's getting worse and worse here. I will have to report that to our IT team. 24.50. There's the break there. Ooh, we get 30s on the break. Ew, that must have been fast. But there it is, the break out. A nice little win there on a little mini flash crash, maybe in some of these stocks. We'll check them out.
That's too far.
Yeah, I don't know. QS. Yeah, I don't know. QS right now looking to break. So we'll test it on QS here. I have an out for this one, like I gave you guys, 43.60. So literally right here. If this breaks through 43.60, we'll get out of QS. The spread looks, look, there it is. Okay, so that's a good one. I saw the spread there. We actually got 60. So another trade on QS, a big win. And Palantir, man, out on the upside. We didn't get any 25s. We're going to wait there now. The market's coming back in. We're out of all our winners. Thank God, man. What a difference the day makes going long today. Neil or Brendan, who wants it?
Brendo.
NFT names, guys, starting to bounce here. This one from yesterday. CSCW up 15%. Just took out that pre-market high there on some volume, but nowhere near the volume we saw yesterday. Worth noting, but some of these starting to bounce, guys.
Trying to bounce in, like that Synodom I talked about, if it couldn't get through that high, I was going to look for a short. I just missed it at 210. I gave you guys a pop, and we'll go with riding the bear on this particular name. It goes all the way to VWAP. That's going to be the plan of action every single time. And I sort of say this, one of the rules that I put in is don't average into one of these when they pop. They make a low. If it starts popping into the open, don't average into it. Have a hard stop, because a lot of times you're just waiting for that moment. Usually it's going to be at the pre-market highs, and there was that level at 7, which was just absolutely golden, guys. So the only thing I have left on is going to be, and I'll show you guys a little bit later on, because I know some of you guys asked yesterday, why do you always have these like non-moving stocks? One of them moved today, and I'm going to show you that a little bit later on, but the only real stock we have on here is that CCL, and it's still resisting at this chop level, this 24.60 to 24.70 area. So it got some out at 50s, or at least when 50s broke, but still hanging on to a quarter of the position, which, you know, if we get a second leg up, I still think we can break that 80. Let's get into those pre-market high levels for CCL, maybe make $1 on this trade. I'm just a little bit surprised. I thought we'd be doing a little bit better on the CCL bounce. I mean, there were a lot of names that I thought would move. CCL was one of them. Just want to quickly note that I don't know if we mentioned this, but there was, of course, that report that some of the Chinese listed names under threat of being delisted again. So you watch out for your Alibabas and your JDs. That's why I wasn't looking at any of those for the long bounce, even though it looks like it would have worked here on Baba.
Okay, okay, so we just went long forward. Kevin, you said, what's the next play? You're out of everything. Me too. I just have, right now, I only have Palantir, which you just got some out on the high side, so that's a good, wow, okay, Palantir, that's a good trade for us. QS out, good out there. Microsoft out. We talked about that bat out there. And then Ford, we just itching in a little bit right now. Long 96s here, waiting for a 12 break. So we'll offer some 99s, and then I'm not going to give this one too far back down. If it wants to fade back in, then so be it. We'll get out at like 92, 93 if this wants to come back in. There's that level. Well, I mean, we can realistically give it to 90. So let's give this one back to 89 or 90. We'll average in a couple more times here on Ford, but I do like this space. As there it is, man. I don't want to say this, but Palantir may be doing its little dance again where it doesn't want to go. So we take it out there again. Let's see what it does around 21.30. But Ford is my next play, looking at 12. If it doesn't break, fine. We're going to get out at 11.90. We're just averaging in. The real shares go in here if it breaks through 12. So for right now, it's just a party. We'll wait for it to see if it gives us 94s, and then average out at 89-ish if there goes. Now we have 94s. So we'll take a few more, and then we'll wait for 90. But this is not a heavy position until we break through 12. I like it a lot more on the upswing here, as you can see the market coming down. So let's not get too carried away with this Ford position.
You down with IMMP? Yeah, not me. I'm going to short this one. I talked about this at 360. Remember that trade? Yeah, comes right back up. I said I'd short into it in front of that level. I had my order there, got 53s to the upside. This is up and was up over, I mean, it was up like 40-something% in the pre-market. Sympathy play, guys. It's because of something that was good for, I think it was Bristol Myers? Yeah, I want to say Bristol Myers. So sympathy play, similar drug that they have in their pipeline. So I wanted to fade it all day long. I always take profit if we retest some of those like 7 a.m., 6 a.m., 8 a.m. Bounce plays in the morning where they start to get that ramp up, and when they fade hard, I like to take profit out in front of those. So I just got 53s, took some scalp out at 10, took a scalp off at 10 cents. I'll do 20 cents, 30 cents, all the way down to 3 even, a rinse and repeat. Now, because of the strength it showed, look at the volume on this move upside here, guys. I always have to do this so you guys can see. Apologies. Look at the volume. That's the biggest spike in volume. It's well after the open. So when I see that happen, I know it has to be a tighter stop than normal. I can't let this get past 370 here. So I know overall I'm trying to work down to like a 3 even. That means my average win should be like a 25. If it goes all the way like 25 pennies, yeah, I got to make sure I'm not losing more than that 17 or 18 pennies to the upside there. So yes, it's in the money and it's working down for me currently, but I'm always anticipating what could go wrong. And the biggest sign is that massive volume spike that you saw. I can also tell you almost got squeezed on a buyout, but yeah, no mas, can't do that to me.
Squeezed and sneezed there. Yeah, what's up to Rob there, our production team? Hey, give yourselves a shout out when you guys want to. We'll give a wave to the production team, the best in the business. And yeah, we couldn't do the show if we didn't have these guys. So there it is. Shout out to you guys. What's up? Lucas, just so focused. I'm not looking at anything here. I'm going to earn that money. Yeah, great job, guys. Again, there it is right there. The bid at 91. We did take that. Our average price now 94.25. Maybe Brendan can give us a name here. What's up, bud?
I'm just noticing some of the retailers, guys, coming back into significant levels here. This is GPS gap, obviously 27 down to 26. Bit of an area here. You can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, now 6 days to the downside for some of these retailers. Might be due for a bounce as well, guys.
Yeah, you definitely got to think so. I'm still looking at that break for Ford, but if it's not going to break 12 even, I got to start thinking about a dip buy. And obviously, if it's going to bounce off you up, that's one thing. But much like CCL, where I'm trying to be patient, I'm going to look for something a little bit closer to like the 1180. So I want a better higher low, like 15 cents from the low of the day, as opposed to right at VWAP. I just feel like this is the kind of day you give things, like I said, a little bit more room. So that's going to be the idea over on Ford. That ENOB, sometimes you got to hold on to these things longer. I did have this point here where I got stopped out of my lawn. That's why I like that for maybe a consolidation off that higher low. It didn't happen. It just absolutely flushed. So it is possible to be shorting something 1, 2, 3, 4 separate shorts on the ENOB, and I found myself with nothing left when it makes fresh lows. It is what it is, guys. It's going to happen to you. I just want to make sure we show that to you. I should have hung on to that one. Sometimes those are the best trades ever when you hang on to those and you get the absolute bottoms. CCL here, this is what we were talking about earlier, like bouncing off that 50 period, making that little bit of a low. I'm still in this one. I just wanted to give you guys a higher time frame look as to why I think it's worth the hold. Here we go. This is the low that it made, that sort of 23, 26. If you're putting in a higher low today, you got to feel like we can at least retest these levels. A couple of sessions ago, chop at 25. Pre-market highs here, 25.40. That's what I'm holding the last quarter of this trade for, and I want to make sure we can get that, or give ourselves exposure to that kind of an idea if it's going to be a bigger push up. I still can't let it go through that low of the day. All systems would say that it's probably headed towards that 23.25. And I'm not trying to lose 60 pennies on a CCL trade. I'd rather lose like 15 to 20.
Yep, and more here as the market right now coming back to the downside. So that's why we talked about that on Palantir. This is why we get out. And then it comes right back into where we got in and we got out again. Or sorry, not in, VWAP there. Now we're back in. We're going to see if it can hold this 45 bottom right here. So we'll see if that can hold. We're back into Palantir right now. And then our Ford, man, we tried it, but the Bears, we were not riding it. It was riding us as the Bears took us out of our Ford right here at VWAP. So we did get out, but we're still in a little bit. I do like it. We'll see if we can't pick some up. I actually put a bid down at 81, but we did not get filled. We did not get filled. Miss V.
Hey Sean, NFT Group is on our watch list, and TKAT stock is very popular on the chat right now. Stock is moving upside, and right now 16% upside. Back to you.
Really?
Yeah, NFT stock. So I talked about DLPN. We'll talk about TKAT in a second. We talked about Dolphin yesterday. I said, yo, to Pranav, I think it was on the chat. I said, get out a half if you can at this 14 level. It goes to 16.5. It doesn't look super strong today, so I think you're probably okay on that one. And I also got a question from an employee here asking me, do I think that, oops, it's on the Amex. Do I think that NFTs will be tradable at some point? I mean, we have that. I'm already into that Top Shot just for fun. I'm not throwing any real money in it, but I do think there is something with NFTs. I mean, we all traded cards as kids, and I think that with art and some of these things that they're doing right now, we talked about a fake on Playboy yesterday. Like, I think that there's something there as well. Like, if they start NFTing some of their, like, Marilyn Monroe or whatever their famous documents are. I'll pretend like I don't know. But, if they start NFTing those, then I think that, there could be something there. So do I think they're tradable as an individual token? Yes. Do I think that as some of these names are overdone? Hell yeah. So my talk on TKAT is that you're just going to play breakouts, man. Like, I don't want to trust any of these levels. It's already 31 to 43 today. Like, that's already a monster move. So I think if you're going to play it, don't play it in these ranges. Wait until it gets extended one way or the other. That's my advice on the NFT game.
Yeah, and speaking of which, I did say I wanted Cinedigm for the fade. If they're going to show some weakness, push off the top. If it couldn't take out the highs, and then Cinedigm doesn't. This is my order up here, and I can go ahead and cancel that. Of course, we're like 20 pennies from that right now. I did get into that IMMP again, and I talk about this all the time. Have a stop, get out. Took some profit at that 40 level. Got back into the trade at 55. That 70 stop, yep, we lost the 15 pennies there, and then I get right back in when it retests this short level at $4. I was able to get some, basically an average price of 82, and when it comes back into VWAP, right in that same chop level, I already had orders to get out, so we make the money back, and now we'll look to extend that, hopefully, back into those fresh lows. So this is, again, the fourth time I've shorted this particular name, but always with a plan, always with a stop. It never broke that 4, and I caught this on the way down, on the way up. It spiked up, and then I'm shorting it as it comes down. First at 90, then I'm shorting it again at 80 and 82. Could you short it on the way up? Sure, I just think there's a little bit more risk in that type of a play. And as I continue to see it fall, I should probably get some more shares out here in front of that 350. So I just got some out at 53. The rest, well, I'll reserve for like that 330 mark, and then maybe some down at 3 even. And CCL still basically range bound here, guys. Just going to hang on to that long for a little bit. Dolphin, never made the trade here. This is choppy and ugly action. I do feel like Cinedigm is going to be the play for me if I have to trade one of these NFT names. Cinedigm, plenty of liquidity and certainly a more reasonable range. I think it's going to be easier for the day trade than Dolphin, which is just wiki. That's a word. Or rangy. I don't know.
Wikipedia. Wiki? Palantir, nice little move to the high side right now as we just average, not average in. I mean, we took the trade. This is what we wanted. Now we'll see if the NASDAQ can go. We'll get back out upside there, making our day go. This is what I love, man. This kind of talk right here. He took me to Jared. What's up, Jared? You play going the other way. So you waited until I basically got out of QuantumScape and then shorted it on the way down. Beautiful trade right there. So we will go high up there. Thank you so much for that one. I'm going to do that myself next time when levels break. I'm going to go the other way. Look at Ford, guys. Cash. You know what? First of all, let's just take another piece out here on Palantir as it goes. Can we get 88s? Can we get 8? Did we get 88s there? No, we did not. There we go. Now we get 88s. Up to 88, 89. A nice little 30-cent win right now on Palantir. So that's trying to make moves. Maybe we'll take another piece off. 21, like 96, 97. We'll put an order there, just get out ahead. Okay, and now we have Ford on the mind right now. take out a little bit here at 90. That seems foolish not to. As we buy 83s, we buy 81s. Our average price, oh, there it comes right back down. Oh, come on. I just put an order at 90. We'll take some 88s. Our average price right now, 84 on this name. So 89s, 90s. We'll see if it can go back upside. I do like this Ford trade breaking through 12. But again, the ES has to go, right? If you look at the SPYs, SPY.am, this is the ETF for the S&P 500. So you guys know that. You're an educated group. So that's a nice little move to the high side here. So I don't know, man. Ford can go, but the ES definitely has to make new highs before that does happen. Palantir, did we get that? Yes, we did. We got those 89s. You guys saw that come through. So a nice little profit take on Palantir. Remember, man, this stock actually sucks. It goes down when the market goes up, and then it goes down when the market goes down. So we got to take some profits, man. I do like the action. It allows me to take more shares because it's only a $20 stock. So I do feel more comfortable with it. And I do always have that Kathy Woods buy coming through. I have no idea when. Hit me up, Kathy. You know my number if you want it. Let's go.
And we talked about some of these names on you get the shopping list out. You saw Ford there. It still hasn't broken that 12, but I can tell you General Electric, GE here through like a 12.42 has a similar double top in the opening range. It's a tight range. It's a 20 penny range. I just picked some up in front of VWAP. I'm going to add to this position off of the low of the day because when I look at this on the daily, it's very similar chart. Look, we've seen a lot of these guys. If we're going to hold that 50 period here at 12.20, that's the low of the day. That's where it flushed. If this market gets a second leg to it, there's lots of names to be in. I'm going to pick up some GE. I also like the 4 through 12. It's a very similar trade, but it's not that horrible to be in a multiple of these at the same time if you're in the right direction with the market. We talked about this possible rebound today. Now we need to talk about what's happening with Brendan at the big screen.
Hey guys, 10 o'clock. Let's have a look at North American markets here. We're off the lows significantly. You can see the S&P still 0.3% to the downside, the Dow about 0.5%. But tech stocks are leading back to the upside, well off the lows for both the 100 and the composite as far as the NASDAQ is concerned. Wanted to mention this as well. The Russell 0.5% to the downside was leading as far as strength was concerned yesterday. The TSX here in Toronto about 0.5% in negative territory. Oil under pressure still. BNGO from the watch list gave you a double tap test there of 680 straight through to 760 on the upside. All kinds of volume on BNGO. Again, it was down in the aftermarket. Yesterday, they announced an offering after earnings. GME, another one talking about an offering, straight upside as well. 120 was support. We're up to, 132 for GME. Guys, back over to you.
It's funny as you say that. I'm like, yeah, let's pull up a 15-minute on GameStop. Look at that. Off the bottom, off of last night's lows. And then you're trying to break the pre-market high right here. And the breakout, 140 would stand out as an obvious first level of resistance if it gets there. So I'm gonna play the fade on GME if it's gonna be anything today. I'm gonna be patient with it. If it pops through that high, I'll look for a 140. If that's not gonna be it, guys, we can always try to find a different level. IMMP, where are you? IMMP. I am trying to hold on to the rest of this position here. It is rounding off. This was my bid down at like 337. There's a wick right down to 337. As I was telling you guys, putting those bids in, it just bounced. If it does make a play back to VWAP, this was a level I was shorting before. Remember this one here in the pre-market at 360 and then on the way back up. So I would feel pretty comfortable at least retesting it. I just want to see it fail at 360 first. I'm just going to throw offers out there in the 350, 360 range. It has these. And why is this still on GameStop? This is doing it this is like 2 days in a row it's doing this to me here, guys. But here we go. It's doing this every now and then where you'll have some offers come in, and I'm trying not to get fooled by them. They'll throw in at like 50s, and then you try to short in front of it, and that's garbage. I like that 360 VWAP level. I want to see it test a little bit higher and roll over from there. I'm not going to get tricked into this position just because I see 27 million shares done, and people throw in like 20, 30,000 share offers. I'm not trading off of those. I'm going to play off the chart today.
Okay, yeah, you got to watch out for some levels for sure. Nike 128.50. I like a lot, but right now we'll go some DAPs on this trade as Ford, man, just continues to go upside. You see where we're long. We're long at 83, so a dime piece right now on Ford. Look at Palantir, man, right back up. Great trading here on Palantir. Reload back and forth. You see the chart here. If you're following with me, we didn't even get in on the bottom. QS was our best trade today from the bottom. You guys can see that one, and here goes. Wow, QS. I shouted out that trader that went against me once I got out. Good ride all the way back to 43, and holy shoot, $46. Look at these bottom picks on QS. I guess out a bit early on that one, but not out early on Ford, as that's still going. I still have basically all the shares I had. So we'll offer out. There it is. Get out some more 90s. We'll see if it still does break through 12. I like it. Maybe overextended right now. Palantir, though. Oops, that's not Palantir. Yeah, this is Palantir. Sorry, my bad. 2206. Yeah, put an order here, 15, 16. Get another piece out if that goes, and then we'll see if it takes out the high as this continues to run. I tried to get Facebook at 284.50. Believe it or not, like it was just there. Like I tried to get it. There's the move right to the upside. It just blew up there. We have bids, and I just should have marketed in instead of putting out some bids down here. We saw it go down to VWAP, and we liked it, but we just did miss it. There goes Rocket. So we hit a new position alert right now. We'll see if Rocket can come flying in here for a win as it takes out the day's high. And again, slippage like crazy there, up to 22. We were just trying to take out this 18, but that's okay. We do have shares on. We're going to see if it can protect 22 on the downside. But right now, there goes Palantir up to 06. Oh, I thought it went higher. Good trade for me.
Yeah, it's going to be 2 days in a row where I love you, CCL, Carnival. It took a while for this one to get going, but the plan still sort of worked out here, and it's right into that this 23 to 2470 or 2480 range. And I took some more shares off there at 70s. I think we can still get a push. I'm still offering in front of that 25. I just want to get to, if I can, like NIO here for a second. There it is, NIO in the midst of a pre-market high break, which also was the opening range top, and then a bit of a fail. So it gets to that 37.50, pops through, and anyone that took that long, you're kind of sitting in it, and at least a little bit worried. I think it's a much better play here if you're still bullish on this particular name, to look for that little pullback at least into like a 37 or a 36.50. For me, the risk to reward is going to be pretty good to at least try a short off the high of the day. It's 37.65. So as long as and again, we're testing about 37.50, so I want it below 37.50. It's trying to get there now. I want to hold offer. It doesn't hold an offer, just try to, and I end up with 50s. I'm only giving it 15 pennies, guys, or 17 pennies, and then slippage. So I think we can go all the way down to 37 and then down to 36.6. This is one of those counter trend shorts that it's a risk to reward play. And if it wasn't set up so that you can win literally 1 out of 3 and it's profitable for you, I wouldn't be taking it because this is a very strong move here in NIO. So just got that one on the short side. I am sort of more betting long with CCL and GE, but I like that little setup and risk to reward on NIO, that I can get a bit of a scalp trade in here on the high of the day for now. Brendan?
Another one from the energy group moving downside, guys, as far as, or upside, I should say. It was down in the pre-market, but American Well here, AMWL, still down 8.5%, but you can see got absolutely flushed at the open there to 15.5. We're back to 17. They announced earnings after market yesterday, guys, for AMWL.
Okay, I'm just tweeting this out here, and I'll tag at tradertv.live. I just want to show it to you guys because it made a perfect move here, and that was Palantir. I guess I'll just show you on the chart, but we did follow, you can follow us on Twitter for sure. And I just tweeted out like, oh well, I guess we dropped this a little too early, and obviously out there was a mistake. But I wanted to show it to you because look at here, man. This is why we talk about VWAP, and we're all about education on the show, as you guys know. Ah, shoot, man. I would like to average into that position, at least QS. Wow, okay. We'll talk about this in a minute. Forget it. Right now, Ford up to 96, guys. Big win for me here, man. 15 cents on Ford, 65 cents now on Palantir. Let the money spit out today. Man, what a difference a day makes for us today. Bang, upside, boom. Nice trade there on Palantir today. Wow, that one's moving. Rocket now rocketing, hopefully, to the high side as well. And then Ford, yeah, we still like the log through the even, so we'll see about that. What I wanted to get to on QS was, look, VWAP, break, rip, test, hold, rip, down here, hit, test, rip. So there's QS, man, up that 3.5, still down, but was down 14, 15%. It's now only down 3 and a bit. Let's address this rocket as it just went into the money for us, and we sat there and watched it. Pre-market areas right around here, but if you do zoom it back in a little bit, or back out a little bit, you have 22.50 close yesterday. That makes a lot of sense today. Disney, Noah, I'll check that out for you. Thank you so much for all the super chats. You're missing out on Disney, maybe, probably. What up, Jose? Thank you for the 5s there. And then Rock Doc, trading with Neil today. Great show. Valeria, Brendan, and me. So thank you so much, guys. Wawa Weewa on Disney there, guy. The NT, what is that? Is that Thai dollars? What's up, Brendan?
New Zealand?
Just seeing some tech names popping up here, guys, led by this one. Apple now up 1% on the session. So we just took out that last high, 121 straight through to 121.5 on volume for Apple, guys.
If you ever have a bad stop trigger and you still like the trade, get back into it. That's what happened to me on NIO. I had a trigger for half the position like a tool, and then I ended up getting back in at 49s. I took some profit here at 33. Same stop, and again, it needs to break that 37.70. So at this point, it actually looks pretty good because I had my first profit take, so it's not going to be that big of a hit. We're going to be up on it for now, but I'll turn slightly negative on NIO if it takes out the top. I do like that play from a risk to reward standpoint. The other mover right here is going to be that IMMP. The pre-market high is right here at 420. You can see I worked out of just about everything here, but I was still holding on to a piece of the position. And every time I reload, I'm not going to reload at the same price. It's got to be that high of the day play. You just saw it test to like 410. That's going to be a go point for me. And I talk about this all the time. I kind of like trying to get in on the way back down. So I'm not averaging in or getting back into this position until it fails and then gives me that turnaround point. So 420 is the high, it's 419 is the high of the day. So, I mean, obviously I'll have a stop at 420. And I'm not, look, again, I'm not trying to be funny or snide about it. It's a double top in the pre-market, right, at that price. So I don't know whoever was trading it and felt like they wanted to sell it, maybe they were making a point there. But for me, 420 hard top when it shows this kind of strength. And I showed you the volume on the move to the upside. That was the reason why, but I'm back in this one. 96 is my average price. I think we can get down to VWAP if it fails here. But as we're working in the money now, I'm going to take some out in the 80s all the way down. Got to make sure we get some bids out there just to be able to capture some profit. And I still think if it never takes out the high of the day, some point I might get that 315 to 320 area, which I loved so much in the pre-market.
Okay, so Ford does break. We did take a beautiful long, as you guys know, down here, long. We averaged into this area and then was able to get out, but we still held. And then now we go through 12. We're actually long right here at 12,000. So I don't even think it broke, man, Ford. But maybe it did, maybe it didn't. We're long at 12,008. So I guess it must have broke, and then we got a great fill. So let's wait to see here. Normally we get 1201s on a 12 break, so we are long 12. So I'm not even sure if it broke. Let's see if there is a reserve size here. Not sure, but it is trying to go down. We did pick up some more at 98. Here comes right down again on that 98 drop. So we'll see if Ford wants to go one more time. I'm not too sure if it even broke 12. So what I'm debating doing is getting a little bit out maybe right now and then taking 1201 if that actually comes through. That makes the most sense to me right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'll celebrate IMMP in a second, but that also means we'll go winner, chicken dinner. I don't think Ford, either I didn't have my stop correctly or maybe Ford didn't break. Either way, GE I did pick up on the way back into VWAP here. 12.35 half is going to be my average price. It rounds up to 36 there, guys. I just got some out in front at 45, so we'll take that little scalp trade off and then work this one all the way towards pre-market highs at 12.65. Now, either one of these names, we gave you guys like a bit of a shopping list on some of the cyclical types of plays, if there were going to be good bounce plays on value. So those are working out. But the one stock which actually cares about this move to the upside that I'm shorting, and the small caps are always a different story here, guys, is going to be NIO. I want counter trend here. I wanted something to balance it off. That if I had the top in NIO, and it's again resisting that like 370 area, it's trying to hold here, guys. It's wicked a couple of times above that price, holding that 75 quarter, but it looks like it's probably going to go. You got to be willing to take the hit on something like this, but it's really holding this level well. So if it comes down, I think we're going to get that VWAP or trace. But if it busts out, fair enough. I'll lose on a small amount on this one because I took some profit, and we're going to hang on to that GE long. And of course, we still have some of that CCL, which is rolling 50 pennies in the money. We're hanging on to that as well. Brendo?
JP Morgan was talking about this one this morning. Max R, guys, with an upgrade price target increase just right now, taking out pre-market highs and session highs as well, coming up to 35 for Max R, moving higher.
All righty then. We will. Max R, good little name there. I'm not trading it though, but we will do, I don't know, we'll just go upside because that's what the net's doing right now. On this rocket break of 22.22 there, we did get some out at 35. We did get some out at 30. So it's kind of not doing much, but not bad. Considering that our stop was going to be 22 even, that's moved up a little bit here. We're still going to use 22, but VWAP is moving up as the market trying to get going here again. And a check back on Palantir. We out of Palantir, so we'll give each other daps for that one as that just moving to the upside there. Palantir. We have no negative stocks today, so hopefully everything can make moves for us. There it goes again. Like, did that not break again here? I don't know, but we'll take another piece off at 12. I got long again at 12 there, so I keep putting 12.01. I guess I got to put a 12.02. It just keeps resisting that 12 break on forward, and I just don't want to lose everything if it's not going to break. I want to go long if it does break that level, so we'll get out a little bit more, and I'm going to adjust my stop to 12.02 this time. There must be some sort of a dark pool that keeps breaking there. I don't know what's going on.
That's exactly what I think is happening. I'm adjusting mine. That's why I'm not into Ford yet. Flushing down the toilet again to VWAP is IMMP, and we had this one the first pop after the open, or the second pop after the open. The third one as well is going to work. And if you want to know why it's a lot better to short some of these, well, I shouldn't say it's a lot better. It's a lot easier. Is that the word? Whatever. It's easier to make that short play on an IMMP as opposed to counter trend on NIO. And I don't mind the play in NIO. And I said I did get some out for profit. I think it stopped at accidental long, guys, and then just got out of that one flat when we could. And it actually might retrace on me. It's so much easier on something like NIO with the bigger players and more dark pool fills, more institutional buying and selling, where you're going to get wicked out. And you just feel like when you're playing in those some smaller cap names, those setups are a little bit easier to execute. So if it comes into VWAP, I'm out of this one. I did say it was a good chance it was going to be that loser. I wanted some exposure. If it was a hard reversal here, the NIO would have come in the money for me, and then I'd lose some of the profit that I have in CCL and General Electric, at least in my estimation, as the ES and the NQ both approach those pre-market highs there. I want some exposure to the short side of the trade. Brendo? No? Miss V, sorry.
Hey Neil, I just wanted to say that we are all so blessed that YouTube gives us a platform to build such a great trading community. So please, let's play the rules. Like this video, subscribe to our channel, hit the bell, use all the options it gives to you. And guys, let's be honest, we deserve much more likes. Don't you think so?
I don't know, just trying to get the merch in there as I sip my coffee. I think, one of the things that you saw this morning, I'm going to go to, because like my negative stocks, you saw I have NIO, but there is another one, guys, and it's going to be QuantumScape. Now, you'll very, very rarely see something like this, right? Where if I'm in the pre-market, this happens off the open, I'm probably going to give it more room. Shot adjusted his stop. I was like, I'm playing this level and this level alone. I saw the size on that bid at 40 even, and I'm like, I'll just take 01s, and if 40 breaks, I'm just gonna get out, and there'll probably be another trade after the open. That other trade at the open was, if you had to have the long, it's gonna be like a break at like 43, $3 higher. But we showed you the live level 2. We showed you two different thought processes for two different styles of trade, one which didn't work and one which did work. That is a great valuable learning experience, and if you don't hit the like for something like that, I don't know what it would take. But we always need to get to Brendan when he's in our ear because something's happening. What's up?
I just saw this one. OI in New York up 11 and change percent. It's being added, guys. This is OI Glass Incorporated being added to the S&P Small Cap 600. So a big mover today. On that news, on volume, guys, for OI.
Always worth a look when you get news like that in stocks, because out of nowhere added. I mean, obviously people probably, I shouldn't say obviously probably, but people knew that was going to be added. So good move there. Yeah, Ford on these breaks, like as I said, I don't even know. So we've just been getting out here. I don't want this. I mean, you could see here like getting out like a madman. I don't really like this trade. First of all, the market's coming down. I liked it through the 12 spot there. So we just continue to. Just got some more out there again. You know that I'm going to be ramping this up if it does go through 12, but for right now, I'm just sort of licking the wounds here. It is going to be my only negative stock just because of these triggers, but that's okay. It can turn around. It just needs to break 12 and we'll go positive. But until then, right now, we're just sort of licking those wounds on Ford and waiting. I think Boeing is out of spot right now with this market pull back down. We could buy this thing at this 236 level. So there's some ups and downs. It's kind of a little bit shady today. Like it hasn't really run too much. Like this move 235 up to 237. I guess that's a good move there. These are only minute charts, so that was a nice move. Actually, I take that back. I didn't realize the scaling was $2 there. So yeah, it actually has been pretty good. So watch out for this 236 level. It goes back to these pre-market bottoms before we broke 235. That was the level that we talked about in the pre-market. If you would have gone long there, you would have been nice, but the market fading in now, and you don't want to be caught with a bunch of longs, guys. Like even Rocket now testing that 22 level on a pullback, right? So yeah, I'm going to go a little bit longer on Rocket, use this 22.95 or so, maybe 22.90 level to get out, but right now Rocket falling apart a little bit. We've already taken profit, so it's okay. I'm going to take those shares back in right now at this 22.12.
And that's what you got to do. And you know what I actually want to show you guys here, I'm on CCL, is it's trying to pull back in, and it's managed to hold up, at least in the last 10 or 15 minutes, that 24.50 area. So it hasn't even retested VWAP. But I do want to come over to that Ford, if I can just show you, because there is a stop order we can use here, one of our stops that, and there's different types. And my Edge A stop here, just using that one, so shout out to them, Direct Edge. This one actually shows up on level 2, so I can confirm, like, there have been these like interesting wicks above that like 1201, but I have not gotten triggered into mine. I'm actually giving it past that extra penny, and the only reason is, sometimes giving it the extra cent when I see this. Look at this 12 to 1203 sort of like not fall off a cliff, but I mean a little drag down in the pre-market, guys. So I want to see the actual bid get above 12 here. So if the bid shows 1201, then I should get triggered into that in that 4 position. And that allows me, I'm going to be late, so you'll have a later trigger, means you get slipped like a penny or 2 extra, but I'll know for sure that it's actually trading above instead of just one print. And Ford, the longer it holds up here, if the market eventually gets that secondary push, it just means that the break could be even better at 12 even. I'm going to keep that order in so long as we hold the bottom, which is 1170 on Ford.
Yeah, hell yeah. We're getting more shares now on Ford. So, okay, we do like that one. I did want to talk about Facebook one more time because we've been watching Facebook and it's been a good trade. We've just missed it. I'm waiting for it to come back into this area. We talked about 284.50, 284 evens. We like that. And then it rips to 289, 288, sorry, and change. So now we're right back in on a nice little pullback into the downside now. So I like Facebook, especially if we can break through this 286.50, but it still needs work to get back to the high side. You see the NASDAQ trying now. If Facebook can come back down here, this is a good little bid. We'll put some bids now, 285 and change, and then 284.50, and using 284 maybe as a bottom, 284 and change, 283.70 here. Take a little bid ahead of VWAP, and then we'll wait to see if on an average in on the downside here on Facebook. So I do like that one if it can work. And then we just talked about Ford a lot, but I've been buying here at the bottom. So let's get our Facebook trade ready to go. We did buy more, as we said, Rocket there. We didn't wait for VWAP test. We just took the 15s there, and now we'll have to wait to see if it does test back down. We'll put another bid somewhere around here, and then we're gonna give it back to 2190, guys, on Rocket companies.
And look, just because this is going to work out doesn't mean that you deviate from the plan. So IMMP, you saw each time I was shorting into these little pops on volume, I was giving it a little bit more room. So, you short here, then you short a little bit higher. Then I needed to test even higher into that 420 to get a reload. It bounces off VWAP. It does touch up here, fail break at 4 even again. So the same setup. But at that point, I need to see it test even higher. Like it's just, if I'm going to continuously play that level, I want a better price each time. And that's always the way I'm going to play it, as long as it shows the strength of bouncing off VWAP here. And at some point, watch out for that 420 break. It could get rather ugly. Didn't get the reload in General Electric here, but it does look like it's making another secondary bounce. I tried to pick it up when it bounced at VWAP. At this point, I'm only taking shares off if I can add more or if it breaks 1250. So much like Ford, I'm adding on a breakout. If it dips down, this one I'm picking up at VWAP. I don't want to do it to both these names because averaging into both at the same time seems a little bit pointless to me. Either way, they both look pretty strong, especially with the market poised to try to make a secondary push. If it doesn't, gotta have your stops. You still have to hold that low of the day. Lots of small caps moving. Good time for the small cap recap with Brendan at the big screen.
Yeah, busy morning right across the board, depending on what you're looking at. Let's have a look at a few small caps that did give you opportunities today. AMC still in the small cap group, 970. Was this high from the pre-market, bit of a pivot in the afternoon yesterday. It was quite obvious this was strong right out of the gate, was consolidating around 950, give you an opportunity on the long side through high of days, I guess, high of the pre-market anyways. On AMC, nice trade to the long side. CIDM, Neil's been dealing with this as well. 210, then 220 at the top end. Corresponds with these wicks from the pre-market, but this thing needs to do something. Volume, you can see, already dying down. So we're not really doing anything, just kind of chopping around here. Going sideways, very similar right across the board for some of these NFT stocks. Show you this one too. IMMP gave you that early trade to the downside out of the gate. 420 above that. Still have most of this, so trying to be patient with this. We'll see if it can hold below 420, and we work back down into 320. Above 4 though. That one could be a problem, guys. Back over to you.
Yeah, as you say that, I actually just got back into some shares of that IMMP. I still have it. I'm on the GE chart because I'm not going to take the time. Like, obviously, we're live trading here, and of course, I want to be able to show you everything that's happening. But if I'm on a different chart, I'm just going to go execute the trades. I got this 401. It actually tested again at that same price, and I was like, oh, my stop order. Let me level off my stop order and then get back into the actual amount of shares of my stops. So I did that only a quarter here. I still want to see if it can't test that 420 that Sean. That Brennan mentioned at 419. I do have a stop. It's a more aggressive of our two stops. I want to make sure I get that fill to get out. I'm not reversing to the long side here. Oftentimes, I would at least consider it, and I'm definitely always going to take some profit out in front of VWAP. If it continues to fail, I'll try to hold through to get this bigger push down to 315. I've had bids down here the entire time, but you can see each time we'll put in higher lows. So yes, am I making 20 pennies on this scalp trade? Sure. Am I still scalping off some wins? Yes. Am I still relatively bearish in terms of my position? Yes, but it's counter trend. Look at this thing make higher lows all the way through, form a bit of a wedge. If it does break out, I don't love, look, if I have a short bias, I like to stick to it and keep things simple. That's the only reason I'm not considering the breakout. Finally, I can hit this one. I think Sean called it the whiz. I don't know, we're gonna stack the cash. It's a couple of days in a row that CCL is gonna be the one for me. There you go. You're the one for me. One of my favorite songs of all time in the New Jack Swing phase. If you can tell me the artist of that one, yeah, go ahead and do that. Fantastic remix, by the way, as well. There's a good one if you know that. Shout out. 25 finally hits on CCL. So I just got some shares out in front of it at the 90s. Maybe we can make that push to 25, 45 pre-market highs. That'll be over $1 winner that we're looking for in CCL. You pick your poison. It is what it is. CCL was a good stock for me yesterday. It's going to repeat as it today. I will have missed out on some really, really good ones. Nothing better than QuantumScape, obviously. You guys saw that with Sean's trade. But there were plenty of off-the-bottom plays that you could have on a Neo, Carnival Cruise Lines, some of the tech names as well. So as long as you knew where you were looking, that's why we went over them in the pre-market, on the free watch list, of course, as well. And that's why we try to execute these trades live for you in front, just so you can see the thought process of getting into the trade, working it, and then taking profits, usually the easier part.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we finally get into Ford, I guess, on a break now over 02. So now our average price is 01.5 right now on Ford. So let's just see if it goes. I'm not sure, man. I mean, it didn't go on that break, so it's making me a little bit sketch city on that one. We did average into our Facebook trade. Make sure we have an out just in case this does come in. We're taking more long here at 28.50. You see the NASDAQ's coming through. We're going to get out 28, basically if it breaks the bottom here on Facebook. So we're going to try to average it. We're going to get more shares right now, and then we'll look to see. I mean, we're going to try it, man. We're going to try the long. It may not work on Facebook. We have liked it. We like this area right now. So we take a small spot there. We'll see if we can get more right now. There, that's my bid. Did I just get those? No. I was bidding 55s there. Come on. That is, I got to switch. Hit me now at 55. Show that I'm not lying. Hit me at 55, please. There, did I get those now? There we go. Did I get, yes, okay. So there we go. See, guys, sometimes it might seem like, hey, why does Sean always say that like it comes to his order and then misses them? But that time it was right there at 55. You see the fill right there. So we do get those orders in there and go long through 28.55. Now my average price, it's a problem. It's 284.88. So we're out of the money now, 30 pennies on Facebook with not too many shares, but enough to make some money if this does go up and lose enough if it does go down. So let's wait to see on this 283.70 break now on Facebook. That's going to be a spot that we're just going to dump it if it does test that low one more time. So that's Facebook, guys.
Can Ford go, please? Like, this is kind of anticlimactic. And look, we're live here, so I can't make this break on Ford go fast. It is what it is. It's a slow-moving stock. GE looks fantastic. That's now trying to test that 1250 again, but Ford finally breaks. I get a 1/2, which there's a good chance if I use a different stop that was less aggressive, I maybe get wicked in here, and then maybe I get like an average, like an 01 price or something like that. So pay an extra 0.5 cent, which, I mean, who really cares? It's not the end of the world, but we just can't seem to get going. There is this chop level from the pre-market up at 6 and 8 in front of 10s. I'll definitely take some off in the first 5 pennies of any kind of a move. If I only want to give it back to VWAP, which is kind of the case here, I don't want to lose more than that, like 10, maybe 11 cents. So I will take, like a fifth, 20% of the position, something like that, in that first little range at 5 pennies, and then, every 5 cents or so do the same sort of thing on the way upside. That's just as a way to manage the risk to reward of every single trade. Get to DraftKings in a second. That's actually still down at 65. Interesting to me because maybe that's something worth picking up. DLPN, and this is why I'm not trading it today. Are you kidding me? There's been some wicks up that you can play to the short side, but there's been better plays in my estimation, and this just cannot. Look, it's about to move right now. If it ever takes out that low, this consolidation here is a little bit concerning. It should be making, after consolidation like this, you'd think it would break to the upside, retest those highs like it's been doing. Got to check some of the other NFT names just to be sure that they're not showing signs of strength. But I'd be very, very cautious if you're trading this one to the long side, letting that 14.25 bottom go because, yeah, it's giving me the feels for some potential shorts. And I just mentioned DraftKings. Yeah, this has to get going. It actually feels to me. Where are we here? Yeah, we never really extended all the way down to the 50 period, but that 62 on a longer term time frame looks pretty good. I mean, adding on this little, and this is why I like this price level, 65. Let's remember that was a good double top previously, and if we can hold that today, above it today, I think you have another leg to the upside, especially if the market wants to rebound here.
Yeah, it looks like the market wants to go the other way temporarily. Anyways, we are averaging in a little bit to our Ford position here, 99s. Our average price is right here at 12. So we keep the same story here on Ford, and I know Neil and I are talking about it, but I think we both like it for reasons. So we've told you about those. Rocket now, a nice little rebuy there at 15, out 26, out 30 again. So Rocket Company still continues to print some money for us. So that's really good. Check back here on Facebook. Yeah, it's right at those testy levels again, down to the downside right now. 285 is where VWAP is. If the market doesn't go, then yeah, this stock will be in trouble. We know that. Facebook can go, so we're not going to give it too much room. Basically, right down to where it went last. I mean, we didn't get out. Okay, so that's good. So that trigger didn't fill. So we'll wait to see if it does retest back downside now. Looks like it's coming faster than we hoped for on this move down. We just took it. This was one of those shots where I thought it was definitely worth it to the high side. And it looks like we probably will. There we go. Yeah, so did we get stopped out there? No, we did not. We'll have to find out what is going on, but we are going to get stopped out in a second here on a breakdown side of there it is, of Facebook. So out of a little bit there. Now, we'll hold a small piece, but definitely not working out here as the NASDAQ turning the other way, guys.
Yeah. Turning the other way, I'm going to not look a gift horse in the mouth on IMMP, take another leg off on VWAP because it's showing too much strength for me here, guys. So you got to take profit. If I'm playing counter trend, I'm just going to adjust to make sure that I'm not holding as much as we had earlier into that high of day if it does break. Brendo?
All right, guys, another little one going here. PRQR up on positive results from a genetic disorder study. So huge move here. PRQR 33%. Volume coming in at the highs as well. So heads up on that one. It's 10:30. That means there's an hour left in the session over in Europe. Miss V is watching what's going on over there. What's up, V?
Hey, Brandon, European markets are mixed or mostly flat due to the rising number of coronavirus cases in the region. CNY market trading in London is down around 7% after it posted a $3 billion loss for 2020. Back to you.
Great stuff, guys. 45 minutes away. We have another great guest. It's been a busy week. Iconic brands coming through in 45 minutes, 11:15. Stick around for that. We'll talk to Iconic Brands.
All right, giving us an opportunity here, I think, to get back or not get back. We haven't been. Look at this. I mean, good out there as we hold a small bit just to watch Facebook, but it continues to go to the downside just to try to pick up another spot. I don't know, man. I mean, they're going to be on Capitol Hill. We talked about that a little bit. You guys should know that with all the big tech companies coming through, and we could fade right into 280, guys. So watch out. This 283, it just bounces a little bit off there, but there's really nothing technical about that level, so watch out. It could be, NKE. It could be a downside move there for Facebook. Nike did test again this 126. I think it's worth taking a long here against this 125. Let's hit Nike. Nike should not be this low anyways, in my opinion. So let's take a little spot now. We'll see what it does at 126, and then hopefully this holds that 125. What's the very bottom there? 124.80. So we'll take a small piece now of Nike and see if we can't hold some of those bottoms, guys.
Yeah, hold it. That's what you got to hold it. I got to go back over to, if I can, to NIO here. It did make a test at 38 even, but still showing some signs of strength. The market is coming off, and we're trying to test those lows. And if NIO does, if we do break to the downside on those lows, I'm probably looking at a 36 break. I'm probably looking at like 36.75. I'm going to let the market dictate if I go against the grain on NIO again. I can come to, Ford is... You're kidding me? It's actually still at 01, so that's absolutely ridiculous. Ford does not want to break, but GE, on the other hand, is looking to make that break through what was the last little high here at 12.48. I'm still long this one off of the dip into VWAP. I still have a bid down here the last time it tested, and this is, again, going to be part of, I should have been aggressive with this order. I can tell you candidly, when it bounced here at 12.36, I just passively bid at 37. I should have just taken I should hit the offer at 38. It's kind of stupid not to. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. That would have more shares into this position, and I'd be sitting pretty. I'd probably be taking some more off at this high at 47 had I got that re-entry. Either way, I want 50s to break. If that happens, likely Ford's going as well. These might move lockstep. And the best thing about this move, if I can maybe come over to the futures here for a quick little second. I mean, this is the NASDAQ. Doesn't really matter. The ES basically doing, about the same thing. Trying to hold off of those lows on the dip. If we hold these levels on the ES and the NASDAQ, either one, and we bounce back towards the highs, Sean, I know you still got yours in Ford as well. Both Ford and I think GE are going to make those pushes through those highs into at least the pre-market tops for GE. As far as how far Ford goes, I'll definitely take some off on the way to those quarters. I'm scalping some in the 6 to 8 range, and then the next in the teens, and then from there that quarter.
Yeah, we missed, sad that we missed Nike. We just took it now, but we did miss Nike at that very bottom. Too much talking, not enough trading there. 26, where was my bid? 26.22. So we'll take it now at 50. We'll wait for 22s, and then we'll see if it can come back into 50s. We're going to bid it up if it does get back down to that spot. So we're going to get ready for that. Rocket companies, okay, testing now, breaking through VWAP. Now we're going to give it this bottom. It doesn't look like it wanted to go today either. This name was heralded a couple weeks ago, and now it's right back to pre-earning levels of, the long at the earnings was 20, but 22 is not too far. I know it's 10%, but not too far away from that considering where this has come from. Rocket just down, down, down. We did get that dividend paid, so that was $1.11 special div, so that worked out pretty well for shareholders there if you bought that. So you have to add a little bit of price to that if you are playing off that 20 level. And then, look, man, so Nike's not moving. Rocket's doing its thing. Facebook bouncing around. Should have took some more at 283. We didn't. I think that could be a hold level, so we'll slip in another bid here in the 30s or so, see if we can't test that, and then just a work back to VWAP. We'll turn this trade into a winner if we can get out somewhere around here, but it still needs work to happen to get back to the upside as the NASDAQ just keeps on fading down, man, and obviously Facebook, not a great trade if the NASDAQ's moving down, right? So we'll wait to see on that one, but other than that, we just got to wait, man. Facebook fell forward, a couple Fs there, not doing anything. We'll look to get more. What about QS? That faded off its high as well. We'll look to see, we've talked about it, hitting VWAP again. Looking for QS to come back to 43.75. I just, remember we said today that we weren't really sure, and I think that the market right now is not sure. It did get, the Bulls won early, then the Bears won, then the Bulls won, now the Bears are back in, and it looks like they're taking control. Could turn this thing to the lows of the day very, very soon. You don't want to be caught.
This is the only place the Bears actually win anything, ever.
Yeah, the Bears. Yeah, QB, I saw them tweet something out. Their QB1, Andy Dalton. Yeah, good work on that one. I wish all Bears fans lots of luck with Andy Dalton as your QB1 against the Green Bay Packers. Good luck. What's up, Brendo?
Speaking of some negativity coming back in, guys, RH, formerly Restoration Hardware, reported aftermarket yesterday. Blowout report. Very, very positive report for them, but it just cannot get out of its own way today. Tried to bounce from 500 early on, but just broke back below 500 again for RH, guys. Still up, though, 3% today.
So two things here. One, never say a bad word about Andy Dalton. He personally ended the streak of the Bills not making the playoffs by throwing an unbelievable touchdown that sent it was against the Ravens, but it sent the Bills to the playoffs. It's going to be pie in the face, and I'm going to go through this here because as we're talking about things that might bounce and things that might go to the upside, you start thinking about levels that you liked before previously. And someone I'll put my hand up, and I've only ever played Virgin Galactic at one price twice, $27.50. Off that level, I mean pennies above it, of course, on the way back up here. The fact that will bounce today at $27.45, $27.50, that's a low I probably should have been looking at today. There were a few things I guess which stood out to me, but it probably should have been one. I'm usually looking at that on a day like today where you got the NASDAQ rebounding and some of these I guess whatever you want to call them. You can call them tech names, you can call them zero revenue plays, or you can call them high valuation, whatever you want to say about them. They're going to get that little bit of a bounce. And there was a dollar move in there off that level. And you didn't have to have the pre-market low. You could have taken the dip at the open at 930, which did hold above. And there was another dip as well. So sometimes you write down those levels, know them in your head, whatever it might be. Have that list of stocks that might not be on your watch list for that day, but that you know are going to be active if you get the chance. There is one that could come to the downside on me here, and I'm staring at you, Ford. This break, like I said, I don't really want it to break past that VWAP here. I think if it breaks it, I have a stop that's trail down. I'll probably get slipped like 1 cent, but I'm a couple of pennies down from that 90 break. You can probably get back in off low of the day. Fair enough, but if it's a breakout style trade, I'm not holding it through the low of the day. I'm already holding General Electric. No need to double down on that one. If it breaks VWAP, fair enough. If it bounces here off of like 90.91, I think that's not a bad place that I can maybe add to it, but I'm only going to buy on strength, not on the weakness that it's showing. Holding CCL and General Electric, which I've been holding for a longer period of time, not going to triple down by holding Ford through VWAP.
Yeah, we just got out some Ford there as it broke through 94. So that's these bottoms. We'll see if that turns out to be the right call or not. As the NASDAQ, just continues to move downside there. Not much happening. We just did short a little bit of ether there as the market's trying to move down. That's ETH coming back down. So a nice little short there, but we'll see if that continues to cash. As the NASDAQ looking to bounce, so we did get out of some Ford there. I don't know. We'll wait on it. Hopefully it can make us some money backside right there. Rocket doing nothing as well. Check in on AMD, a new name for you guys here today. See if this is doing anything. It doesn't really look like it. Actually, come on, chart. Wow, it's breaking through 76. Okay, was not expecting that one. AMD, down through 76. Negative Nancy today on AMD. That continues to move downside there. Ford looks like it coming back. Facebook coming back from the dead as well. So that should be a ripper if the NASDAQ does go. So happy with that trade right here as well, guys. Not happy, but happy that it's made its way backside now on that name.
Yeah, I actually missed that little bounce. And if you try to catch it on the way up, you run the risk of missing out on the trade. And that's what happened to me just now on Ford. So, try to get it, just cancel that at 94 there as it does bounce back to the upside. If it consolidates here, I can always add passively in that regard. But like I said, I'm involved in these three names. And I'll go back to CCL because you're seeing a similar thing happen. Pulling back in. And it was a quick dip into VWAP here. So I didn't have the chance to get this one either. But again, if we can level off around 24.50, I might just go ahead and say, okay, we'll pick some more shares up in front of 24.50. If we make a fresh low on the session and then I'm punching out here at like a 24.40, I'm still going to be in the money on the trade overall because of my initial entry points. But it's not a horrible place as ES is on the low of the day and the NASDAQ's trying to hold as well. Picking up some of these in the money names here around VWAP is not a horrible play if we can get a shot at it. But right now we got to take a shot at the big screen with Brendan for our sector watch.
Hey guys, let's have a look at the S&P 500. We'll see what is leading the way today to the downside. Obviously, we are down 0.45%. This group jumping off the screen right now. Energy stocks, by far the leaders in negative territory. FANG here, BKR, Halliburton, Oxy, they're all here. Apache, Marathon, NOV, DVN. 2.8% to about 5% total to the downside for individual names here in the energy group. Crude oil still kind of coming off a bit. Keep in mind, though, 6% move higher yesterday, so a bit of a pullback today. It's nowhere near 6% at this point. CBOE here in the financials down significantly, 3.8%. MSCI as well. Some index-related names moving lower today. Healthcare stocks also moving lower today. ABMD, LH, DXCM, WST all 2% plus in the equipment makers. The pharmaceutical names also outside of BIIB having quite the day, 1.25% higher. Eli Lilly's here, AbbVie as well, trying to get positive on the session. Wanted to point out Nike, when we were talking about it in the pre-market, it was about 4%. We're still 4.8% in negative territory for Nike, not really doing much. Under Armour here as well, having a bit of a negative day, 1.6% DRI offsetting, 3.9% higher. Tech stocks are providing a little bit of lift, but not enough at this point. Hardware equipment makers are positive right now as a group. Oracle here up 1.6%, having a nice day. The rest of this group, though, the software makers, all in negative territory. Same story for the semiconductors. Sean was just showing you AMD. Pretty negative, 0.5% now, guys, for the S&P. Consumer discretionary and energy stocks, though, leading the way. Back over to you.
All right, thank you, Brendan. Yeah, we did take care of some Facebook on that retracement back upside, guys. We're not going to hold this thing forever. We're actually going to get out of it and then lick our wounds a little bit there on Facebook because it's going to the downside right now. And we take some off as it comes right back up. So it's going to be a negative trade for Facebook, but really just wanted to give you guys that update that we kind of got scared of that trade and ran away from it. So that was that. We're holding very, very small now. We may test bottoms again on this market. So here it comes back down to 283. This to me now is worth probably taking a little bit long on Facebook. Now we have these sizes battling in here. It seemed to have been a mistake. We tried it, we dumped it, we lost on it. So now we'll see about making some money back. Oh, here it goes. Still crashing, man, on Facebook. This may not be a great buy. The NASDAQ, we talked about bulls versus bears today, and right now the Bears taking over once again, down 0.5% and battling. So Facebook, 283. These are the levels that we did like. So I don't know, man. You go back to yesterday, that was the high before we dropped. That was 284. And then we made some bases down here before we closed, 282. So you may have something coming on there. I think it's worth a try. 282. We've already visited 280 today. So this could, okay, here we go. This is getting nasty, guys. You got to have some shorts on board as the market just keeps on fading down, guys.
Yeah, and I'm looking at NIO here, retesting that 37. Remember, no average it on Ford because I took more shares at GE and VWAP, and I'm still hanging on to that CCL. But watching NIO trying to hold, and the market is right on these bottoms here is, what did I say? It could be that 37 level, maybe VWAP, particularly on NEO here. And if it wants to make a break, I think we can take a nice little short trade. I'll scalp. I'm always going to scalp some out. If it's an even dollar break, I'm going to try and take some off for that 10 to 15 cent win and see if it can't work the rest for lower. The only other short I have on is Ford comes out. So we're out of Ford, but I'm still in GE and CCL, and then looking to get into this NEO if it does break lower. We're right on the low of the day on the ES and testing the lows on the NASDAQ as well, guys. And the only short I have on, of course, is that IMMP. But remember, that shouldn't care too much what's happening in the overall market.
No, yeah, we still have that 281 area to come right now. We take a little bit more into Facebook. Brendan, give it to us.
Just saw a volume alert here on NVIDIA, guys, through 500 again. Looks like a volume spike came in there at 500 as we went through to the southbound side. NVIDIA among the leaders in the semis, guys.
All right. Yeah, no, I mean, if this breaks through back down through 282 here, we're probably going to have to give something up. Okay, right now a nice trade though on Nike for some reason. This continues to work. Long Nike here, 126.50, nicely in the money, 40 cents. So yeah, we'll hit the money on the bull side here for one bullish trade that's working out. That is Nike continues to work itself upside now. I want to put this in my portfolio. So right now we're just trading it, and we'll wait to see if Nike can get back to view up. I think that's a good possibility today. But for right now, the tech stock's getting thrown out with the bathwater. And some of these names, we go long on Facebook. 283 right now is our price. So yeah, it needs to work. But hopefully the NASDAQ can start going back up as we bottom pick a little bit there in FB.
And sort of speaking of bottom picks, I just want to throw this one out here. 6204 close on Intel yesterday. You saw the positive news. It's probably more of a long-term play. You know, the whole foundry shift for them, manufacturing chips. I think it's going to be a good move for them long-term. But I look at this top pre-market opening range, 6220. If we do make the hold here, I mean, when I say if we do make the hold, I mean if the market makes the hold at these lows of day, looking at the NASDAQ here just bouncing off 12.7, yeah, I'm going to like Intel through 6220 here on any kind of a break. Even if it happens in the afternoon, if we get if that rebound we're looking for, it's going to be negative to positive on the session. It's going to be taking out open range. It's going to take out a pre-market level. It's going to take out multiple tests at this particular price. So you got to file that one away. As a matter of fact, I want to make sure I have a stop order so I don't miss it. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that one now. Just make sure I get this one 6221 here, and let's go. So Intel, if it's going to break to the upside, this is what I want to file away. If I see us break the low, like if we're taking out 61 and the market heads southbound, I'm canceling that order because I have to reassess what the kind of breakouts that I'm going to like if the day turns that negative in the overall session. But that one just stood out to me, so I'll make sure I have that in on Intel. Got to go back and again, just managing the short trade in IMMP here. Here we go. It's starting to level off this level, a little dip here. I was actually bidding around the same price the last time I had the short up here at 390, and it stalled at 335. Wouldn't give me anything more. I feel like this is one of those decision points here. If it comes back up to VWAP, I have to make a call, right? Like, it's either do I get out right here, anticipate I can get more shares at VWAP, or do I hold strong, maybe even short more through 337? this little break. Oh, sorry, this little break back here, which is like 336 actually. I'll go 335. I'm going to add to my position. I'm not going to take it off. If 335 breaks, this has been weak enough, and it's made enough runs at that high of day that if it breaks down now, I think I'm just going to be short it probably the rest of the afternoon below VWAP, and I might as well, even though I have 402 as a short, it doesn't mean I can't take this one if it does give me a shot through 335. NEO just broke that 337 price. I told you I would scalp some out in front of VWAP. So I'll take 10 and then 20 cents and then hold the second half of the position just in case we take out the low of the day. I want a bigger win. But I'm also adding to my IMMP short through 335 if it breaks.
The market just can't, I mean, it just can't go, guys. It tried here, and then, I mean, look what happened. The market tried to go, and then smack, right down 2 days low again. So we're holding on to dear life with some of these trades. What's up, Brendan?
In case anyone needed a little more excitement in your life today, there's an IPO that's going to open. There's actually a couple, but I'll tell you about the biggest one. Diversity Holdings Limited, which is DSEY. I think we're about 0 for the year on IPOs opening during the show, but we'll do what we can. Diversity Holdings, guys, they make cleaning products and some food industry related products. So it's about 1.2 billion in value, guys. DSEY.
Yeah, we're 0 forever in terms of getting these things open on the show. And you know it's a long time when you take when you take the 4 off that. Anyways, I chuckle because when I make a reference that I'm going to get, I chuckle at myself because that's how corny I am. We're holding the bottom, so it looks like 1270 is going to hold. That's why I wanted to scalp out some of that NIO trade, and it's very similar to the short I had before. Something as strong as NEO, when it gets a retracement, you saw it push through VWAP the one time. When it pushed that high of the day, I scalped out for a shallow win on at least a quarter of the position. I'll always do the same thing over and over again. I just feel like it's a higher percentage play to do when you're counter trend against a stock like NIO, where there's going to be a lot of bulls that are trying to get that money in on a day like today. Because when you have a daily chart like this, you come off that double top at like $65. It's pulled back so far. It was support before around that 37, 38. It dips down below and it makes that bottom at 32. Then comes back to give some of these prices. There's a lot of people that want to be buying that sort of higher low. So you do have to be careful shorting a NEO on a day like today. As I get the 20-cent win on it, so it is what it is, guys. It's going to try to punch through. But as that's happening and working in the money for me, I don't mind describing what I'm going to do if it goes wrong and why I have some concerns over the trade and what my thought process is. So there it is. NEO's going to work for me. That means, unfortunately, GE, the dip buy at VWAP on GE, and the reason I didn't add into Ford is because GE is going to test this higher low that I put in at 1225, and I was only going to average into one of them, and GE was going to be the one, not Ford. So if we can hold 1225, I'll get in one more time here. Thankfully, we took some profit on the way to 1250. So unless I don't get my out, which I guess is always possible, right? Like I can miss my stop. I don't think I will. GE is very, very liquid. We should still be basically flat or maybe slightly up, depending on if I can catch a bounce and get some up at VWAP. But it was GE I wanted to average into. That's why I didn't simultaneously get more shares of Ford. You pick your poison, manage your risk that way.
Yeah, no, that's the talk that we want, right? I mean, that's the kind of stuff that people are looking to trade with. Why are we into certain things? Why are we out of certain things? And then fall right back down the toilet goes Facebook. We tried it, we lost, small loss, but we tried. As the NASDAQ, keeps on losing as far as the bears or bulls are concerned. They keep on losing. So we're holding very, very small, but we understand that this is a losing venture today for sure as far as Facebook is concerned. Before we throw to money talks, I just want to, I'm upset at myself because this 1020 level on AMC, I had it written down. I was watching it on a chart and I just didn't execute against it. It was this break right here. It does give us another shot to get long again at 1020 on AMC, and I don't take it again. So there's this 1040 break, 1044 high, but AMC, wow, what a big trade today for anybody. 42 million and just up and away. Like if you were long biased, you never really had too much to worry about. It does retrace back a little bit there at about 10:15, and it was a wild open, but since then we're just sort of heading northbound. A little worried if we break back down below this 1020 area. I think it's worth a short rate in here, 1017, 1018, as the market just keeps on puking, guys. Brendan at the big screen.
Hey guys, yeah, currency time. Real quick, we'll give you an update on what's happening in the world of all things money. Euro today down 0.17%. No significant news really today. The US dollar did bounce a little bit. We got a few numbers out in the pre-market we were talking about, mostly higher. The Canadian dollar 0.4%, British pound higher, 0.25%. Japanese yen, Swiss franc, both higher. Volatility coming back into equities again. So we typically see those moving higher on those days. Australia and New Zealand were both actually significantly higher going into the session. They've since reversed. Bitcoin 5% now to the downside. I put 50,000 on here. Definitely was a significant level on the way up the first time. We struggled there for about 2.5 weeks before it actually broke to the upside. So we'll see what happens here at 50,000 for Bitcoin. But leading the way here, 51,300 right now, down 5%. Ethereum managing a little bit better, about 0.5%. And Ripple, yeah, 5.3% to the downside. Negativity across the board, guys.
Yeah, it's definitely coming here, guys. Some negativity coming, and there's the rejection. I'm finally out of CCL. I'll go to that chart in just a quick second. And one of the reasons why I wanted to expose myself to the short side of the trade on NEO was if GE, which I'm still in, by the way, because that's actually holding that 12.25. GE and CCL came back. I wanted to actually make some money on the short side on something that wasn't a small cap, so we did take that NIO trade. It's now working down into that higher low that it put in. This was always going to be a bit of a scalp trade for me, but as the market accelerates, that was me. I just canceled my bid in front of 36. I kind of think I want to hang on to this as long as I'm still in that GE position, so I'm hanging on to some of that NEO trade. CCL, like I mentioned, came out. Also alert to some of the energy names, which just made some fresh lows. Occidental down 5% now, is basically everything flushing, as we will see here. And Ms. V is at the big screen. She's got a name for us.
Hey Neil, Freight Car America is a popular name on the chat. Rail is trading on a high volume and has been halted earlier today. Could you review on that stock, please?
There's a name I wouldn't be expecting to halt, so we'll get to rail in a second. I have to add that one to my quote board, guys, and this is why we love the community, because a name which was not necessarily on my radar, and you're looking for things that have actually traded to the upside. Unfortunately, maybe this is not what you're going to want to hear, but anytime, and the first thing I'm always going to look at, because I like halts, and candidly, I should have been going to my halt page, which I have not today. If I see a stock which is halting to the upside, that's made a couple of parabolic moves up, I'm always looking for that. What happens on the reopen? Can it hold this level, which it did? I don't know whether I could have gotten shorted to 510, but I'd be turning bearish when I see that almost every single time. And I think, would I've tried for 525, 530 into VWAP? Certainly. And if it fails to hold this level here at a 450, you kind of have to watch out below on a name like this. If it ever takes out that top, I think, at that point, because of the lack of liquidity and the fact that it's shown it can halt, and that there was a lot of volume coming into that sell side, if it does bounce here, that would be a sign of strength. I think you'd look for a breakout. But watch out if you're holding this one to the long side. Don't let it break that 450 mark. Not a horrible place for if you're like a huckleberry that wants to gamble here. You have a tight stop long you could possibly take. I don't like doing that, so I'm not going to go ahead and try on rail. But a good look. I should have been watching my halt page. There's a reason I will occasionally show you guys this. Where are you? Yeah, and I have it up here on my, on my browser, because it's one thing I want to check every now and then. Am I missing out on something that's moving? Brennan gives you almost everything you're going to see, but sometimes you'll get something which doesn't have as much volume or as big of a move. And you can go to NASDAQtrader.com, trade halts, have it up, see the reason. Just make sure that it's not like a news-related halt. Make sure it's limit up, limit down. It is because of volatility. If it's news-based, back off till you know what's going on, is always my advice.
We picked up a little bit here. I mean, we could make everything back if this market will actually do something. We did pick up a little bit of Facebook at the bottom here, 280.50, and now it's ripping up to the money. So if NASDAQ can retrace itself a little bit, then we should have at least some money back, which is a good thing. On Facebook here, back up to 282. Yeah, that's a good spot. Maybe 282.85 or so, like in here where we were. 282.85 is right here at the top, but this is not a horrible spot to get some out if we can. above 282 if the NASDAQ actually, but see, there you go, tries to go and then looks like it may fail again. But maybe just 282 even, take out some, I don't know. I'm going to try to give this one some room though to go just in case we are right on something. That would be nice. Nike averaged in, so now you can see our average prices right here at 36, so I do like that. And I want to get more, so we do have more bids down here. I think with this market, it's not great to play breakouts. You just got to sort of wait for prices to come, and if they don't and you get missed, you get missed. I mean, that's really the safe play right now in this market. Instead of chasing longs, you sort of got to wait for them to come in. Just like this Facebook, I think it's worth getting some out now on the high side. If it does test again, 282, we'll put an order in there to get out in the 90s now. If it does rip up a little bit more, we will get out, but it looks like it, I don't know. Is the NASDAQ going to fail? Who knows? It looks like it may test lower again right here. So watch out for that. We are long there. We're long Nike, we're long Rocket, and we got to find something on the short. I do see someone talking about Walmart, and that's been a nice trade. If you want to get into something right now, I think J&J, Walmart are good. I think Nike is good place to hide right now if you're a little scared about some of these movements in the market, in the broader market, in the NASDAQ. So yeah, 133 Walmart, what a great move off that 133. I'm sort of hoping that we can get the same action here on Nike, where people realizing that this is not really a growth stock, guys. And I mean, I know China comes with that news yesterday, and it's not great, obviously, as all their products made in China, majority of them, I shouldn't say all. I'm not super educated on where they're made, but I would imagine that they're in Asia there, so you got to watch out with Nike falling back down. You don't want to go against the CCP, but right now, I think this is worth it. Nike down 5%. Other than like a horrible earnings miss, you're not going to get too many opportunities to trade with Nike down this number. So we're going to get longer again and then use 125 as a break. If it breaks it breaks it, and we're just completely wrong on that. But we're going to give it one more shot with NKE.
I might have just dodged a bit of a bullet there, so I'm going to be very, very happy. I had some stop orders I had to clean up there. That look, if you put a stop against a position like on CCL and then it goes in the money, I actually still had a downward stop if it ever took that low of the day from the first dip buy. Thank you guys so much. I love this community. That's why I always wanted to grow. That's why I always say hit that share button so we can get a bigger community. But Rocket Doc, I think it was you mentioning PRQR. I think this got mentioned. I'm pretty sure this got mentioned earlier by Brendan as well. The double top, obviously fantastic. That's great. I was looking at other things at the time. Now breaking down, you said 750. I like this little cluster here that's forming. I would actually almost prefer that it tested a little bit higher and then I could fade into something in front of like 8 even. I don't think I'm going to get that chance. It might be breaking right here, and I'll see if I can't dip into some shares. And I know it's going to. You know what? There it is. I know it's going to happen. I get some there at like 49s as I pay down. I'm willing to add to this if I ever say I'm willing to add to this, usually the first thing that happens, the stock drops 10 to 15 cents. If it does come back into this like 760 to 770 range, I am willing to add to this one. There is definitely downside push that it could have at least 50 to 60 cents from here, and then maybe even farther. But looks like the ship has sailed potentially on that PRQR. Brendo?
We were talking about AMC. We were talking about GameStop, also very strong. Here's another one of the original meme stocks, guys, just breaking out. Costs, yeah, it just went from 23 to 24 on a big volume burst. So big buyers stepping up on costs right now, 45%, guys.
I kid you not, 2 weeks ago, I actually threw out a pair of Koss headphones that I had at the other desk that I've been using for like the last year or so. It's not against the stock. It was just literally, I didn't even know much about them, and I had been using their headphones, some that we had on the floor, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. So we're basically still range bound on this PRQR, hanging on for not for dear life. I'm going to wait until like 760 to 780 to get more shares in. Hanging on for dear life, though, in General Electric. Now, I picked some more up at VWAP, our original price. Picked the majority of the shares up, waiting for us to actually test 1225. Now we've done it. Now we've held that level. So if it levels off here around 1225, I'll add one more time, but the market has to make sure that we hold those tops. I have some exposure to the short side of the market with NEO, which is still in the money here. I got 37 even short. It's 50 pennies in the money. But if GE is going to bounce, I like this one. If it breaks view up, I'll start taking some shares off in the 40s like I did the first time. And I still like this one to break 1250, especially if we can make a bottom. Just got to watch out because the NASDAQ is still at those lows. It's the ES that's trying to break off the bottom. And that's the reason why I can hold a NEO short here, because that tends to follow that a little bit more. And GE is going to make a bit of a pop, at least it's trying to make a bit of a pop here into VWAP. If it levels off, that's the only one I'm digging into on the long side. I'm sort of giving up on anything else, at least for the short term.
Okay, yeah, Facebook finally, guys, a nice win here for Facebook. We did take this 280.50 there. We talked about that, trying to defend this 278, 279. Defending hasn't worked. Like, we tried to get VWAP there. We tried to take this bottom. Didn't work. Was able to get out, though, with, you know, some skin left on our back there at least. And then this one, we tried to get in defending 282, doesn't work. And then we just switch up our game, and we basically just let it fall down, wait for a key level, pick it up, and now finally $1.70 in the money now with Facebook making that money back. So, okay, that's fine. Someone's down $12,000. Not good, Martin. But you know what? To be another day, man, like yesterday was a horrible day for me. We turn around back positive today. So, and not a horrible day, but you know, we turn it around, and you got to sort of do that and just keep your head high, man. Today, if you were a bull, it was good early, bad late, and vice versa. So watch out there. Tesla testing that 622 level. We're long NEO here. We're going to try to get a little bit longer. And I'm going to also try to drop out some Facebook if it just keeps on going upside. You know, if I can get out right around here, 283 would be pretty sweet, especially if this NASDAQ goes higher. I'd like to capitalize on that movement with some Facebook profits. What's up, Brendo?
All right, Chop City, yeah, definitely some questionable moves off the open this morning. So a tough one today. Let's have a look at, I'll give you an update on the Suez Canal situation. Take everyone's minds off this crazy market for a second. So this is the Ever Given, which is the ship that's blocking the canal. So you can see this is the canal. This is a satellite image. So this is the canal entrance. This is the Ever Given where it's actually blocked. These are all the ships right now waiting to see what happens to this situation. So already there are better part of 20 ships, guys, sitting here waiting to see what happens with this situation. So your Suez Canal update, guys.
So you know what's crazy about that too is like because of like some issues around like you know, of course with COVID and travel, you have a lot of people on these ships that work on those ships that have basically like extended their stays out on sea by like 20%, 40%, 50%, and now you're waiting like this. So the bottlenecks. It's not fantastic for the price of oil in general. Well, I mean, it's good for the price of oil for us for the price of oil, but certainly there's bigger wins to consider there. Of course, I said it, and you know it is what it is. Like I told you guys, I wanted to wait for PRQR to test the top end of this range, maybe give me something at like 770 or 780 to add to the 49s that I got in, and of course that means it's not going to go that far. It turns at 65. You know. I'll probably have to maybe, look, at the top end of this consolidation is going to be closer to the 65, 70. Maybe I'll have to get some shares at 55 or 60s if I want to be a part of this move and get some more shares into it. GE still holding up at that 30 even, but it's looking a little bit weak for me, especially with the NASDAQ continuing to crush to the downside. Maybe it'll take the ES with it. And remember that level, this little dip in NEO at 36.20? Well, I canceled the bid in front of it, so I would be out, but I wanted to hang on to it because of the trend in the market to the downside, and if it broke, I want to be able to take some out at like 35, 75 or something in that range here, just extend and give myself another extra 50 pennies on the last 20% of the position, guys. It's not like I'm trying to take like the mother load on this trade, but sometimes when the market's in that trend to the downside, we're 1% down on the NASDAQ, it gives you reason to cancel some bids and hold some shorts a little bit longer, especially, you know, while I am in that GE position and still holding it. And of course, had to take off that CCL, which I should get to for you guys just in a quick second. We talk about the wins, we talk about the losses, we talk about when we take these trades off. I worked back into CCL at 24.50 and then took it off when it broke 39 or 40 because it's GE that I wanted to hold and didn't want to give up too much profit on CCL. It's still going to be my number one stock on the day, but the problem is if I hold it all the way through, if this move continues down, you could give a bunch back, and you never want that to happen on your best stock. There's a good chance that maybe I could end up, and I'll look back on this, maybe it was CCL I should have dug into and not GE. Time will tell. GE is the pick I made. Holding the NEO was the other call as well.
Yeah, we do have an interview coming up. Should be a good one with Brendan. You guys love those, and continue success with those. We didn't pick up any Rocket at the bottom. I don't know why. We were going to wait for Rocket to break to the downside there, and it basically held this level that we were looking at, 21.50, and we didn't get any long. So we're going to put some more shares into Rocket here. But The NASDAQ, man, just doot. That's why we make sure that we do take out some profit on this move for Facebook. We'll try to get longer again and then use this bottom, but honestly, I'm going to wait. Like, I'm not going to be taking these breakout trades or anything like that. They're not, if you're going to take a breakout, man, it's got to be a breakdown. And right now, there's not too many stocks that haven't already broken down. I mean, if you can find one, look at Microsoft. This early trade, great trading early, just a quick couple scalps, but then this break of that bottom was just cash all the way to the downside. And we talked about Microsoft being strong yesterday, but today it's the complete opposite. It's actually mirroring the NASDAQ here, down that 1.18. I actually think it's more aggressive today than Apple. Yeah, see, Apple only down that 0.5. So I guess here's a stock ready to break down right now on the NASDAQ. Apple through this 119 bottom, 119.25, 119.20, something like that. A big bottom here for Apple. So watch out below if you're trading the NASDAQ. It doesn't look like the big boy is going to hold right now. And by that, I mean Apple. I mean, it's in every single index. So if this cracks and they start selling it, you could get a huge flush in the NASDAQ or the triple Qs. So be very, very aware of everything as far as that is concerned. But yeah, right now, NASDAQ trying to break. If you like a long, you can hold that. You can try to grab it. I did get more Nike. This is as of planned. So we do have one more bid. And I'm averaging into this thing. This is exactly what I wanted to do. So I don't have a problem with this. I don't have huge shares yet. This was my biggest spot. That's where you can see my average price. But we'll wait to see if it takes out this 125 low. If that happens, then watch out. Oh, there's the NASDAQ turning on a dime a little bit there as Facebook goes up. And what just happened to Apple there? We just called that low. Oh, damn it. Getting long there at 119.30 would have been a little cash, up 30 cents. Let's see if the NASDAQ just made its bottom. I doubt it. It's got to go past 1268, and then I'd like to see it bump up at least to this level, 12,720 on the NASDAQ. But there goes Facebook, back in the money, $1 plus now, guys.
Yeah, there you go. And there goes PRQ. Just when I said I was going to stop being patient on it, looks like patience would have paid off. So my average price ends up, when it broke, I get an average price of like that low 60s here, and it just took out that 80. Is it done? The move to the downside? I don't necessarily think so, but I think every time it makes a test at a level like this, I'm always anticipating it's going to give me what I always feel like is a better short. And sometimes I'm wrong about this, and actually I'll say often I'm wrong about this. If it breaks to the upside through 8 and I get another chance at that high of the day, one that I missed before, I just feel like I can always have a bigger position and a bigger win when I do that. So I always get out of this trade maybe a little too shallow. I get out in front of VWAP, which I don't mind. I'm getting out because it was a dip price before. There was some congestion at that same price area at 780. So that's what I go with for a stop. If you're going, there's no way around it, right? You cannot divorce risk taking from risk management from risk taking. So if I have an entry point, it has to come with a coinciding stop. If I'm going to give up some profit, it's going to be because I'm trying to manage the risk and then play for what I think could be a better opportunity. If it breaks this 735, then Rocket Doc, I hope you got that one because I still think it's probably going to 650 if it holds VWAP. I just want to have a chance to take an actual trade here up at like 840 if it makes another test to the high side. So now I'm waiting on PRQR to literally make another push higher. That's what I almost want to happen. I don't want anything bad for anyone else that's short, but I'm looking for that fantastic opportunity if it tests 860 again.
There it is, man. We take off a little bit more on Facebook. I mean, Facebook were actually pretty good on today. We take a little bit more out there at 282 off this little bottom, and we'll wait to get a bottom pick again. It ripped up there. I just told you, remember I just said like the NASDAQ fit. Oh, the thing is, when I'm pointing out the NASDAQ, you guys can't even see it. I don't even realize that. Okay, this NASDAQ spot right here was what I was talking about, that it's going to fail at that level, and that's exactly where it just failed again. So being what we're doing, that's the out there on Facebook coinciding with that out right there. So good trade on the futures if you were shorting anything up to that level. That was a good one there, 1280. Oh, I got to put on, it's not showing the cursors, the prices on the side, so we'll fix that up. But yeah, my bad. I actually forgot that you guys can't really see that. I want to let me see the screen now if I just, oh yeah, that's how you guys can see it. Okay, that's fine then. We'll watch out for that. But there it goes, NASDAQ now breaking the bottom again. So look out below, anybody trading this market. It just keeps on getting nastier. Apple probably just broke that. Yeah, there it is. Apple just broke that low again. We were just talking about it, taking out that 119.70. I think that's a great long, but here it goes, man. This is cracking. That's bad for the NASDAQ and for the S&P, as if Apple cracks and they turn on this stock, which they could do, then watch out below. Everything is going to just fall apart. It's such a major component that it's not going to be able to hold the market. So if Apple takes this 119 and even 118.60, this could be a very, very nasty day. I do like it on a bounce back, 119.85, 119.70 or so on Apple if you like a rebound play. But right now, man, hold your longs close like I'm doing. Just watching them all. We have our stops. Be disciplined. I don't want to go short. The market's down a lot right now. So let's just wait to see what happens. If you're going to rebuild the short, I'd rather build it in these levels like I was talking about here, 1270, 12,740 on the NASDAQ.
And a good look here, and thank you, Monkey China, for that super chat there. And of course, that short bias can have helped in some of these names that we're trading in today. And one of our viewers, Hasham, was making a point that possible squeeze in something like, I think it was PRQR you were saying there, because it's easy to borrow. So it's actually low key not a horrible thing, because there are often times where I will prefer the small cap short in something that you had to pay for the shorts for. It's one of those things where, like, if people had to pay up and had to have the conviction of having a bit of a cost base and to get those shorts, they can be a little bit better. Whereas everyone and their mother can pile in when it's easy to borrow, and if it starts to run, you're going to get some weaker hands squeezed out of it. Whereas when the people that are paying for the shorts, a lot of times, it's not always true, right? There's a lot of times those paying for the shorts are a little bit more diligent or have the deeper pockets to be able to hang on to it, and you might not get as bad of a squeeze. Now, that's not always true, but it is a fantastic point. I saw you throw it in the chat. I wanted to make sure I shouted that one out because I think it's a good look. Probably a good look, as Sean mentioned there, to have a look back at NEO. So remember, I adjusted. I would have taken profit out here, and I could have had an 80-cent win on the last of these shares. Market tries to catch a bit of a bottom, and now what happens? We're starting to retrace. My GE is now starting to work in the money. I'm long here at 34s. It's now creeping back up towards VWAP itself. I don't want this to turn into a losing trade. However, I want to give an opportunity that I'm exposed to both directions here. I don't want to take off NEO just because it might take out this 36.70. I'm going to give it all the way back, this last little bit to 37 even, and then maintain the long in GE. PRQR holds 8 even, so I said I could be wrong about it. In fact, I'm very likely to be. Yep, if I had hung on, give it a bigger stop, maybe even average into more shares, I'd still be holding that short and maybe it flushes. But I thought if it tested that 8, I wanted to be out of it and then ready to re-engage if it took 850. But I'm going to hang on to NEO. Instead of giving it to VWAP and giving it to 37 even, I want to be still short some NEO while holding that GE to the long side and minutes away. What I think is going to be a fantastic interview. Brendan, once again, he always gives us straight goods. You guys should enjoy that. I know we probably haven't talked a lot about GameStop. But by the way, up 27%, making a bit of push. Look, let's keep in mind where it came from before we pump the tires on how far it's going to go. But making a bit of a push into afternoon highs at 157, and then this morning top here at like 160 to 164. So as it creeps up into those levels, I've been waiting for a shot to fade this. It's getting pretty close to where I would be thinking about for sure rolling into a short off that 160 to 165 level on GameStop. Brendan?
It's worth mentioning, guys, it's growth. That's the problem here. If you have a look at some of the banks, WFC, 0.5% higher still. So JP Morgan is higher on the day. So some of the banking stocks, energy stocks as well, I saw starting to find a bit of a bottom. Oil's still lower, but definitely the banks showing relative strength, guys.
Yeah, man, we're starting to go now, man. We have this Neil long at 36.44. We just cashed it out at this VWAP of 7. Oh, no. We had an order at 72. We actually took 66 or 68 there. So 20, 40 cents or so on this. Well, right now it's 25 cents, but we'll wait on it. It was for 30 cents at VWAP. 40 cents at VWAP. We'll wait to see if it gets back there. I still think there's a chance as the market, it's you guys can't see that. Oh, yes, you can. Good. Thanks, Rob and Lucas. This level right here on the NASDAQ, trying to break, man. If it does, then obviously I think NEO can rip, and we might even start taking out some of these levels at 37. So it just needs to get there. No idea when and if it does. Nike, we are still 40 cents out of the money here on Nike. But it's bouncing around. And again, I think that if the market can get going again, there it is. And now, oh yeah, Neo right now, spiking to the upside there. Oh yeah, 126 and change, waiting for that to come through. And then our Facebook, oh yeah, whipping to the upside again as well. We'll wait for 283 though on this one. 280, actually, you know what? Let's get a little greedy and see if we can't make $2 on this name. 282.50. It's not gonna be the game changer for me. If the market does rip, man, it will be Neo that prints it for us. So we'll get out at 282.50 as we're pretty light now on Facebook, but we have 10% of this position left. So we'll get out right now, 282.50, if it can get that high. I'll be cruising, walking on water with Neo if the market goes. So that's the one I'm gonna sort of rest on. We'll wait to see if that happens. As there it goes, okay, here we go, Neo, let's go. Let's see if we can't test now 37 on this name, guys.
Yeah, if it hits 37, I'm out of my short for sure, because that's break even. And if that's walking on water, you're definitely tripping on something fun for that with that graphic. Yeah, DraftKings right here, guys. I saw someone throw it in the chat. But anyways, double bottom, trying to break out through this like 64. Look at this wick down here. That's 63.40. This little top here is 63.40. You can probably figure out what I'm getting at with this. If we make a low here, DraftKings long, 63.40 right here, right now. It looks like a good setup to me. I only have GE to the long side. And if the Neo breaks at 37, I'm out of that one and only in the small caps. So I'll flip bull over here. Well, I mean, I'm not flipping bull. I'm actually getting to the bull side on DraftKings for the day trade for the first time today. Of course, was that double top, so no matter what I do with it, I'm taking some off in this chop at 60 in front of 64. No matter how long I hold, some out in front of 65, and for sure that double top at 65.80. That's another place to take profit. But now we wait for it. We've teed it up. It is time to go to Brendan for our guest of the day.
All right, guys, thanks so much. We've had a bit of a cannabis theme so far today. Started off talking about cannabis stocks. We'll talk about another one now with Brandon Coe, the CEO of Iconic Brands, joining us. Another company focused primarily in the U.S., specifically Nevada and California. We're going to learn a little bit about Iconic Brands. Good to see you, Brandon. Thanks for doing this. Let's start off a little introduction to the company. Where did the concept come from, and where or how did we get to where we are today?
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. Iconic is really based around California, right? Our belief is that California is going to really be the center of all things cannabis. And so we have built our base around California, vertically integrating our business, everything from cultivation to manufacturing on down to kind of distribution. So we're very excited about the future. For us, a little different approach, I think, than most. We are very, very focused on gross margins, right? So our belief is that if we can make profitable products using our vertical integration, using our technology and manufacturing process, we can deliver products to the market at a very high gross margin profile, and then everything else will kind of work itself out for us. So we're very excited and happy to be on today.
Let's talk about the Nevada operations as well. A lot of companies specifically focusing on California as a result, as you said, the biggest and one of the first to be developed in the U.S. What was the attraction to Nevada in that case?
Yeah, so in many ways, obviously California is the focus, but we made an acquisition last year around Nevada, right? So we knew that eventually, as we kind of refined our process in California, as we refined our brands, that where would the next launch pad be, right? And so in acquiring an acre and a half of real estate out in North Las Vegas, having an existing cultivation, existing manufacturing, it really sets kind of the runway for us, right? So as we kind of develop everything in California, our processes, our brands, our SOPs, having Nevada, having an asset in Nevada that's ready for launch was really kind of the key. We also think that, with there being so much crossover, Nevada was the ideal next step for us in kind of our evolution as a company.
So interesting. There's a technology side to this that I think people will find very interesting and exciting. And I'm talking about automation when it comes to the production side of things. Tell us how the company's focusing on developing not only the production side with technology, but the technology itself.
Yeah, so I think our goal as a company is to really bring the best of the business world and the best of kind of this legacy cannabis world, right? And so from the business world, we've learned that automation and technology is key in all facets for industries to evolve, right? If you think about the beverage industry or any other industry, it's really with automation and technology, it really does two things. It decreases your cost of goods and it allows you to scale efficiently. And so we knew, taking our learnings from other industries, that cannabis was going to be no different. For whatever reason, cannabis had just lagged. And so we saw an opportunity to really develop our own technology to automate the pre-roll process, right? So we developed a automated pre-roll machine, basically handling the process from A to Z. What does that do for us? It allows us to increase our gross margins. It allows us to decrease our need for human labor, which, especially in a COVID scenario is huge, right? With all the restrictions around space and people, having less human capital in a manufacturing environment is a game changer, right? And then, I think most importantly, it allows us to scale, right? The idea being that we can run these machines 24 hours a day, every day of the year with very minimal work staff. It allows us to meet the demand curve that we have for our products and the future demand curve that we know we'll have for our products, and really do it in an efficient way.
And let's talk about the pandemic here, because it's obviously affected the entire, global manufacturing, not just cannabis, obviously, but has there been an uptick in demand since the beginning of the pandemic, going back a year ago? And how has the company kind of adjusted its workflow towards that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think when the pandemic first occurred, a lot of people didn't really know how cannabis would be treated. I think 2020 will be kind of remembered in cannabis as kind of that kind of tipping point, right? Getting essential status, allowing our workers to kind of continue to work, but while still being mindful of the spacing requirements, right? And I think that, with cannabis, the reason that a lot of cannabis companies have struggled during this process is that you have to space out your people, right? But when you're talking about a very finite amount of space, from a license perspective, it's not like I can just go next door and just set up shop in a unlicensed facility, right? So I need licensed square footage. And so that's where we think that our technology and our thoughtfulness around how we're spacing people out, how we're incorporating technology to reduce our need for human labor, ultimately is giving us a huge advantage. For us, it really is just meeting this huge demand curve, right? We've seen a huge influx in consumers that, are getting into cannabis, are buying more cannabis, a lot having to do with the pandemic. So we think that, again, 2020, although, kind of an ironic year for a lot of industries, for us and the industry in California as a whole, it's been a real game changer.
Brandon Coe is CEO of Iconic Brands, cannabis sector space. We're talking today. Let's discuss the industry itself a little bit. We mentioned off the top of the show today, Brandon, that we're seeing a shift with a new administration in the White House towards some more favorable policies towards the industry in the U.S. We heard last week New York State going to be the next one, possibly, that are quote unquote very close to legalization. What does that mean to not only Iconic Brands but to the industry itself?
Yeah, I think it's really needed. I think for us specifically, right? Like our focus is California, and we think that, look at what's happened in wine, right? You can grow grapes anywhere you want in North America, right? But at the end of the day, there's always this premium for Napa Valley wine. People always will search it out. And we think that the same will hold for California and California cannabis. As the US opens up and as legislation passes, we think there will be even more of a demand for California cannabis, California brands grown in California. And so that's why we're really doubling down on our efforts within California, right? We know that as legislation happens, whether it happens tomorrow, a year from now, or 2 years from now, there's going to be a demand across the U.S. and across North America potentially for California cannabis. And so that's why, ultimately that's where we're going to really kind of dominate the market and know that it's going to provide tremendous expansion opportunities as legislation furthers and furthers.
Let's look forward here going into the remainder of this year and also the years to come. What do investors need to know as far as significant events maybe upcoming for Iconic Brands?
Yeah, 2020 for us was a year to really get our foundation in place, right? With us, the focus is all around gross margins. How do we do that efficiently and thoughtfully? For us, it starts with our vertical integration. It encompasses our manufacturing process, leveraging our own proprietary technology that we think is the best in the industry. And so now that we have this platform, it allows us to not only grow exponentially organically, but also look at acquisitions, right? Knowing that we can go out and acquire brands that, may not be doing their manufacturing in-house, may not be vertically integrated. We can pull those brands, those products, those SKUs into our own supply chain, into our own manufacturing process, and get their gross margins up to, the 50% plus day one, right? So for us, 2020 was a year to build the foundation. 2021 is a year that you're really going to see from us exponential growth, but I think most importantly, growth with very high margins. So yeah, we're very excited and can't wait to show the investor community what we've been up to.
There's a look at the chart. Yeah, ICAN listed on the CSE here in Toronto in Canada. ICNAF on the OTC markets down in the U.S. Brandon Coe, CEO of Iconic Brands. A pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
There we go, guys. A look at Iconic Brands, another entrant into the cannabis space out in California, as we learned. Guys.
As always, a fantastic interview as well. So we always thank all of our guests for coming through, and I always see a lot of interest in some of those that come through, and fantastic questions, as always, Brennan. But GameStop making, and look, as it was happening, remember I talked about that 165 area? So I was watching this as it came through, and it gave that little fail break. I was this close. I'm telling you, I was like this close when it broke that 165 to taking this breakdown here. It just didn't quite take out that previous high, that 63 area where I would have gone into the short. And if I got wicked into this, crush city. So, I mean, again, I wanted to catch it on the way back down. That's how I usually play these shorts. And that's why you got to be careful. GameStop pressing into 170. There hasn't been a halt yet on this thing. Of course, but this is the biggest, most parabolic move that it's made so far today, up 45%. As far as levels go, all I can tell you is that you look back into this range at about 185, where it did have a bit of a top. If this extends or halts, hold the upside. I'm going to look for some short retracements on GameStop this afternoon. Brendo?
All right, guys, I saw this just as Brandon was joining us there for that interview. Lordstown Motors Ride, the ticker, guys, did receive an SEC request for more information on the merger with, who was it again that they were merging with? But yeah, Lordstown and Ride. So there was no reaction to that initially, but still positive on the day. But a heads up on Ride, guys.
Oh yeah, here we go, guys. Neo, let's go, Neo. Kicking the bulls, kicking right now. We'll see if we get some out, and hopefully we do at this level right now. Good little level for us to get out of Neo if we can. A big win for us, man. Long 36.41, man. Bang, bang, bang. Beautiful out there at 37 as it retraces back down. And oh yeah, that sleepy stock that we all know and love. Bang for Nike, man. Yes, sir. We're almost, believe it or not, guys, we're almost at our highest spot all day right now. We sat here in the woods, man. We limited our losses, and then we banged this straight to the upside. Look at Nike. Boom, boom, boom. Out, 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 out. Brennan, again, what up?
Yeah, a couple minutes to go here, guys. We got to get to earnings. There are some earnings. It was Diamond Peak Holdings was the name I was thinking of there for Lordstown. But yeah, here we go. Earnings aftermarket tonight and before the open tomorrow. Okay, yeah, we'll talk about this in a minute. Taking $1.50 on Facebook. Box Light, right in the middle. It grabs my attention. Forget it. I have too much to trade. Go ahead, Neil.
I might have tops on GameStop. I got 169.91 to the short side here off that 170. It's flushing down back here, guys. I saw it fail up at that 185. I looked at the daily chart. I just really like this level, and I waited for it to roll over. I only got one entry point. Didn't get the second one. Look, because if I don't have the shares that I want, I still have to look at my first target range. It's either halt down or it's 160. And if it halts down, I'm probably looking at a hold. If it bounces off of this 160 to 162, I'm going to have to get out for about a $5 winner. But I want this thing to halt down. That's the ideal point of this trade, to have a 170 short here. So bit of a crash in this name. Watch out for Co-Diagnostics. That stock has been actually consolidating for a while on the earnings front. So it's an exciting day. It looks like we're ending it with a lot of excitement as well here, Sean.
Yeah, hell yeah, as there it is, man. Multiple dollar winners right now. We're cruising right now. Nike, $1.01 in the money right now. Neo, bang, 70 cents in the money as that rockets up the board right now for me. Facebook also, $1.30 in the money on Facebook right now. So yeah, what a great way to end the show. Give it to them one more time, Brendo.
So guys, there was that DSEY IPO, still hasn't opened, but also Vizio, VZIO. I have a Vizio TV to my right here, so a heads up on Vizio as well. It's not huge, only about 250 million, but that one also coming today.
Alrighty then, I got my orders locked and loaded. If we take out a fresh high, or just we take out 171, I'll get out of GameStop. Otherwise, I'm holding literally to 155, and I want a $14 or $15 winner, or I want to halt down. And Look, I mean, I've already said my affinity for all things Nova Scotia and all things East Coast. And as a way of a segue, let's get to what National Day it is, because I'm literally licking my lips. No, we're going to Brennan first? Okay, sorry, Brennan.
Robbie's all over the place today.
What?
Yeah, we have to show you this, guys. We haven't showed you this yet today. Just keep in mind, we're so ever so close to 200,000 subscribers on YouTube. If you haven't done so already, hit subscribe. Help us out. Get to 200,000. We get to enjoy that, but only when we get to 200,000 subs on YouTube. So help us out, and then hit the like too, right, Valeria?
Brandon, and you're right, we're just 5,000 subscribers away from drinking champagne live, guys. It's going to be so fun, so let's try to get there as soon as possible. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. I hope you're all good, and let's hope for a better day tomorrow. I'll wear my green short to make markets green, guys. So again, thank you for all the super chats, for all the likes, and for all support. We love you. We'll see you tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and happy National Lobster Newburg Day.
You had me at lobster.
Yeah,
Newburg.
no idea what lobster Newburg is, but Valeria, just wear the same thing tomorrow because this market, look at Boeing, man. I've been recommending Boeing for a hell of a long time. Just in now, they may restart deliveries on the 787, so hopefully that comes through. You see that bang right to the upside, man. We've been loving Boeing. I made that as a prediction for something to hold moving forward. Nike now, guys. I just, you know what? To be selfish, I wish it was still down here because I would have loaded up in this in my own account, but what the hell ever. We will take $1.17 right now on Nike in the money. $2.50 in the money now on Facebook. So that's working out. And then $1 in the money now on NEO. What a great way to end the show, man. I'm almost near the highest spot I've been at all day. So let's just keep on rocking and rolling. This is such a great market when it goes up. Not so great for all of us when it goes down, guys.
Yeah, and as the market went up, the reversal happens in GameStop because they've been going in opposite directions here today. So reversal on there. But I like it's got DraftKings as well. So GE in the money, DraftKings in the money. I wish we had lobster for lunch today. It feels like it's the kind of day that we'd be celebrating with a great lunch like a lobster. But we're not going to get it because that's how we roll. Thank you so much for all you guys in the super chats as always. It's been a fantastic show. For the entire team down the line, Miss V, I'm with Sean. We're the same thing tomorrow. My man Sean Katina. For Brendan Wickens, I'm Neil Roberts. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Trader TV Live. See you tomorrow. Bye, guys.